let me know when the stream is up so that we can start. It says it's up on my end.
We're live.
Okay, awesome. Can you hear me?
Live. Yep, I hear you.
Okay, awesome. So let's get this started. So welcome everybody who's joining us today for our, technically not our 8th podcast, but we're calling it Podcast 8. We technically had a mini podcast a few months ago, but it's been about 7 months, I think, since podcast 7. So we actually have a proper new group this time, and again, we're really happy to have you all here. I think none of you have been on this podcast before, so we're going to learn some interesting stuff about each and every one of you. So we're going to start off a little bit with introductions. I'll just start with myself for people who don't know me. I am the host. I'm BluechanXD. I am a writer over on both ASMR Script Haven as well as Talking Tall Tales. And if you haven't learned much about me, you can learn about me in each and every one of the past several hour podcasts that we've done already, but I'll give this time to our newest podcast members. We're going to go down in alphabetical order and just use this time to do your little shameless plugs and tell us about yourself. So our first person on the list, see, the problem here is because how Discord likes to show people off, it's technically not in alphabetical order because it does the A ... thing. So let me make sure that I have people in alphabetical order. So we're gonna start off with, let me pronounce this again, Asheri Akashi, right?
Ashiri Akashi. Very close.
Akashi. There we go. Okay.
Yes.
Please tell us about yourself.
There's a reason. There's a good reason why I switched my channel name to Akashi Audio. Hello everyone. ASM artist, YouTuber, so on and so forth. Happy to be here. If you want to check out any of my stuff, just go to akashiaudio.com and that'll get you there.
We're very happy to have you, and I think you might have been one of the people that has actually signed up in the past, right? I feel like you have.
If I did, I have no memory of it. It's very possible that I did and I forgot.
Before, but yes, but we have been wanting to bring you on as one of our podcast members. But again, very happy to have you here. Next up on our list is Alk Audio. Please tell us about yourself.
Hello, yeah, I'm Alk. You can find me at my channel, Alk Audio, or alkaudio.com. I've been doing audio roleplay, ASMR roleplay for a little over 3 years now, I think, which is kind of nuts. But yeah, I got into it from listening and wanting to write and make my own stuff. My background was in music production and stuff, so I had a lot of the knowledge to start it, and so that's what I did and what I've been doing since.
And also very happy to have you here. So let's see who else is next. Okay, I know some people were changing their names on Discord, so it's a little bit easier for me to see the alphabetical order here. Okay, so I believe our next person is Beyond the Usual. Please tell us about yourself.
I am a very recent VA. I only started this year. Before that, I was a writer, but not a script writer. And I've been a consumer long before I've been a producer, so I kind of took up after my inspirations, which led me to be specializing in monsters and cryptids.
Sounds pretty interesting. Hopefully we'll learn a little bit more about that. I know we have a specialized question for you to talk more about it, but we will get there soon enough. Our next person on our list is Butch Cody. Please tell us about yourself.
Hey, I'm Cody, Butch Cody. I am a non-binary lesbian VA. I got my start on GWA Sapphic over on Reddit and have since but included some SFW work on YouTube. You can find me under Butch Cody pretty much everywhere: Reddit, YouTube, Tumblr, and my website is butchcody.com.
Also very happy to hear. And again, I know you mentioned that you have some interesting background in both the safer work as well as NSFW, which we have had some in the past, but it'll be interesting to actually hear a little bit more of that perspective going forward, especially because a lot of the people that we have on our podcast tend to do mostly safer work. So it's an interesting angle. We'll get there.
Oh yeah, I'm excited to share.
And last but certainly not least, we have Devil's Rose. Please tell us about yourself.
Hello. I am Devil's Rose. You could find me over on YouTube at Devil's Rose VA, or you could just check me out on Reddit, r/SquirmyKing39. I am a ASMR scriptwriter. I have been for almost 2 years now. I predominantly write a lot of comfort scripts, and a lot of people that I know, either in Script Guild or in other ASMR Discords I'm in, usually call me the ASMR script stapler. What that usually means is that if I find a brand new VA that's looking for scripts to record for their ASMR channels, I will walk over to them and staple all of my scripts to their forehead. So, have fun.
That's one way to make an impression. And I'm actually glad that you mentioned the Discord. Yes, we do, and we are recording this through our Discord, the ASMR Script Guild, and you can find a link over on our channel here, the ASMR Script Guild YouTube channel. If it's not available, please go and reach out to me in DMs over on Reddit. You can find me under my name again, BluechanXD. It should be pretty easy to find, and we'll send you a link to this podcast. And we are going to be looking for more panelists in the future, so if you are interested in joining us, then this would be a great time to join our Discord server. But yes, so without further ado, we're going to be starting off with several questions for each of our podcast panelists. And we're going to start off with my questions, which is going to be a little bit more tailored to each and every one of you. The next are going to be some where we go back and forth between whoever's basically randomized. I have a little randomizer that I always use, and that kind of gives me an idea of who should be talking next. But that'll be the questions after mine. So we're going to start off, and this one's actually not in alphabetical order. I think it's just the order in which you guys signed up initially. So this first one is actually going to be for Devil's Rose. And for reference, a lot of these are actually based on questions that I asked in the form when people were signing up. So that's kind of why it's like, wait, when did you mention this? But that's where this is coming from. So again, for Devil's Rose, you mentioned specializing in mommy comfort and monster girl scripts. With as many scripts as you've written and with how much experience you have writing these topics, how do you differentiate your content?
That's a pretty good question. The way I differentiate it is based on the story I'm telling within each script. So, for example, if a script mostly focuses on hypnosis, I will mark those. I will tag those scripts as hypnosis. However, to differentiate from like mommy to non-mommy, monster girl to non-monster girl, it's pretty self-explanatory. I will usually post it in the tags themselves. I will give a little backstory to each character, the relationship between each other, if they're strangers, if they're in a relationship, etc. Another way I differentiate them is if they're just one-offs, which a majority of my scripts are, or if they're from a series. Right now, I'm currently working on a 5-part series, which is taking way longer than usual for me to write, but which is fine. I think that, and another way I differentiate them is based on how long the script is. Usually I write scripts between 2,000 to 4,000 words, but there have been some scripts where I've written less. Not many, if any, scripts that I've written more than 4,000. I have gone up there maybe once, maybe twice, but I usually differentiate them based on the story I'm telling with them.
That's interesting because I specifically wanted to ask you this because I too have my own particular niche of villains. So I do find it a little bit hard sometimes to differentiate personalities, and sometimes you end up getting very similar personalities between characters. I guess, have you ever noticed that with your own?
Oh, 100%. I am a fan of keeping things similar with a different shade of character, if that makes sense. Where the characters' personalities are very similar, but their backgrounds, their relationships with the listener, how they act around other people, etc., how the background serves them, how that's all different while keeping a similar personality structure.
So yeah, I would say probably kind of similar to how I do things, but it's good to kind of get another person's perspective on that.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. So let's see. Okay, so let's move on to our next question. This one's going to be for Butch Cody. So it says, being a creator, and I actually want to preface this because I want to make note that I post a lot of scripts over on Script Haven, right? And Talking Tall Tales, and I'm going to tell you right now, I rarely see any sort of scripts for non-binary content. Mostly you're going to see a lot of like M for F for A for A, M for F for M, so on and so forth. So that's kind of where this question came from. So like I was saying, being a creator that makes non-binary content, have you noticed any audience trends by filling a less common speaker niche compared to something like M for A, F for A, M for F for M, etc.? How difficult is it to find non-binary scripts, or do you write your own / make speaker edits to existing scripts?
Yeah, so like you said, it is super uncommon for there to be anything for or by non-binary speaker or listener. Usually the go-to is A for A. That's usually a pretty comfortable spot for me because when it's A for A, it's non-gendered on my side and on the listener's side, and that's actually a direction that I lean in on my own. I don't actually do a lot of scripts. I don't usually fill a lot of scripts unless, if the tags catch my eye, I'll open it up, I'll give it a sort of skim and see about, the pacing and just like the voice, whether it feels like it would match, my style of delivery. And if it does, like that's pretty rare. I think I have like a very particular way of delivering and the way that I like to do the storytelling in my audios that makes it kind of hard to find sort of a match on scripts. So my way around it, honestly, is just I do a ton of improv. Like most of my work, most of my audios, I've been doing this for a year and a half, and I would say like 90% of my audios are improv or something that I scripted partially and then improv the rest of it. But as far as like an audience trend, I do get a lot of listeners who are like me, who are non-binary or gender non-conforming, or in these sapphic and lesbian spaces, who are trans-masc, so they're not looking for these more standard sapphic audios or scripts that talk to the listener in a lot of feminine pet names and pronouns. So the fact that I leave everything pretty much ungendered, it attracts a lot of people who are like me, who are also looking for that non-gendered experience. But it is interesting because I do also find that a lot of people who are, female, feminine, also enjoy the non-gendered aspect of my scripts because they feel that sometimes there can be some stereotyping within the 4F scripting and audios where, if it talks about them wearing skirts or being a certain size, being very petite and smaller than the speaker or anything like that, they say that it can often take them out of that experience because not everybody can relate to those different aspects of identity. So even women and females will be in have sent me commentary to say thank you for making non-gendered stuff because it's easier to embody that listener position than some of the more gendered storylines.
Actually, like that you mentioned that because I wanted to kind of point out I've seen a lot of similar things from people. Again, I like that you mentioned how sometimes listeners just can't really put themselves into these particular situations. One that I don't think you mentioned, one that I hear a lot is mentioning things like blushing, like especially for
Yes.
like darker skinned listeners, they'll say like, okay, like I can't really relate to that because you're like it's a little bit more, I guess, attuned to like lighter skinned listeners in that case. So it's definitely something that I feel a lot of people pretty much need to watch out for sometimes, especially when you're going for a 4A, because in the end, it's kind of not really 4A sometimes because those things don't necessarily apply to certain audiences.
Yeah, no, that's actually something that I also am super mindful of. I always have inclusivity notes in my posts to note whether or not I mention skin color, eye color, hair, length, texture, anything like that, because, if you're running your hands through somebody's hair, like that's not possible for every type of hair. But I also actually steer well clear of that kind of thing. I never mention blushing or eye color or anything of that nature, just because it can take certain listeners out, and I want everybody to be able to listen to the things that I make.
I feel sometimes A4A is like a special art where you kind of have to be so mindful of things.
Yeah, it is for sure.
But like I said, it's a really good perspective to have, and I think it's something that a lot of people kind of need to be mindful of, because again, like what's something for one person might not necessarily be for another, and a lot of times we kind of have our own biases, I guess, and so we don't really realize sometimes when we're making certain assumptions about all listeners. So it's definitely a challenge.
Yeah, definitely. It takes some getting used to for sure. And it's kind of one of those things that you can end up not really paying attention to when you're looking through scripts. But anytime I've kind of quickly read through a script and then I just end up recording it, I don't really thoroughly read through scripts. If I like it, I can tell pretty quickly. And so I usually just do kind of a first take read on my recordings. And sometimes I'll come across something that indicates a certain body type or a certain hair type or a color of the eyes or something like that. And I always have to like pause, figure out how to rephrase that in particular to make it flow, but also to make it so that, it's not specific to a certain race or skin color or anything like that. And then keep on with the rest of it. It can be a little tricky, and sometimes I have to like pause to regroup that and make sure that it flows well. But yeah, that's something that I always do my best to make sure I'm being mindful of.
It's good to have that though, and I really do hope that more people do that. I feel, especially when making some kind of note somewhere and saying, okay, this is the type of thing that we're describing for our listener. But I know it sometimes we just don't really like things fall through the cracks sometimes. But
yeah.
Right. Let us move on to our next question. So this one is going to be for, well, I'm going to call you Aku now because very long. All these people have very long names.
No, it's
so
yeah, fine. It's totally okay.
Makes it so much easier. I don't like butchering people's names. But anyways, okay, so for Aku, tell us about your process for doing live recordings and editing in front of an audience. Does having an audience influence the sort of content you make, and do they have an impact on the editing process?
Yeah, that's a lot. I should probably start by talking about when I first started doing this. I just sort of started doing it impromptu because I was having a difficult time motivating myself to get some editing done. And I'm already at that point, I was already live streaming stuff, gaming, just chatting, this and that. So I was like, we'll see if people like the recording and editing. If they do, great. If they don't, well, it was just to motivate me anyways and sort of keep me accountable. And at the time, I was recording solely through OBS, and I would have all my flubs and mess ups throughout. And so I would have to scrub through the entire recording and cut out each and every little slice, which I think from a listener perspective was pretty cool for as far as like entertainment value. But from a creator perspective, oh my God, what the hell was I doing? I've transitioned to like a stop-start recording. If I mess something up while I'm recording, I stop and I start again. I use Reaper to record, which is similar to Audacity, if anyone's familiar with that. And yeah, I don't always record and edit live anymore, but I still do it pretty frequently. But yeah, I'm much like Butch Cody does. I'll just find a script I kind of like. I'll like skim it maybe. I'll be like, good enough. And then I will just record it through one take, cold read it pretty much, and doing that live. I mean, sometimes audience influence will go into that. If I'm like reading chat a little bit as I go, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I'll lean into this or lean into that. As far as the editing process, sometimes
Sorry, really quick, can I ask a question?
Oh, yeah, sure.
yeah.
What inspired you to start doing that process that way? Because I've thought about live recording and live editing, but then I'm like, but wouldn't it detract from like the mystery and like the excitement of like, oh, I've never heard this audio before? Like, do you find that people who are there for your editing process also listen to the completed version?
Oh yeah, they do. 100%. So the thing you have to understand about your live audience is your live audience is your most dedicated section of your audience. They are a small, tiny fraction of your listener base. Because I post my audios on YouTube. I post them on Spotify. Yeah, and Patreon as well. Early access on Patreon. Shameless plug. But the amount of people who watch me live is like, 3 to 12, right? Depending on the day, right? So, I'll end up with hundreds and thousands of views on the audio. So most people like it. Even if the people who watch it live never listen to the audio, it is a tiny fraction of the views I'm getting. So it's just like, eh. And if it's gonna ruin it for them, they can just not watch the live.
So true.
That's kind of my at that point it's just like if it's gonna if the watching the process is gonna ruin it for you, just don't watch it. Have some self-regulation.
Fair
In
enough.
this community.
But yeah.
Right.
Yeah, in this community, yeah, right. Some self-regulation. Oh, sorely lacking. We love it though. But yeah, as far as editing goes, I mean, like, there is some audience input here and there. Mostly I just do whatever I feel is right, but sometimes like I will just be like, okay, I'll run something through. I'll be like, and I will ask for input. Not as much these days. Definitely when I was still trying to get the hang of things, I would definitely ask for more audience input. But as I just sort of got the hang of things, it's not as necessary. But yeah, I mean, I will say when I do my own stuff where I kind of just write it myself, I've actually live streamed putting together an outline for a story and then live streaming recording that outline and all the impromptu stuff. And I've had audience members, as I'm recording, they'll make suggestions and I will incorporate them into the story as I record, which I haven't done that in a while. I might have to do that again at some point. That process is super fun. Like, and the audience gets to literally make a impact on the audio, the final finished product, by like making suggestions as I go. So
Actually, I wanted to ask specifically regarding the editing process. What about things like sound effects? Do you add sound effects like during the stream itself, and does the audience actually have some sort of input on that?
yeah, that's actually most of what they have input on.
Because I know that some people
yeah,
they'll say like, "Oh, that sounds like a little silly," or "It's too loud," or whatever, and like some people want to be listening to things while they go to sleep, so they don't want anything that makes a huge noise or whatever. So
yeah, for sleep, if it's a sleep aid audio, I'm going to be much more muted on sound effects in general. Generally speaking, I know it's ASMR roleplay, right? I focus more on the roleplay and less on the ASMR. I consider it more of a theater production where the audience is part of the story. If the people get ASMR tingles from it, great. If they don't, I hope they're entertained. I'm genuinely, I view myself more as an entertainer than as an ASMR artist, because ASMR is just a small part of what I want to do. And that viewpoint has actually led me more to wanting to start working on audio dramas, actually, which I'm trying to start that. It's a slow process since I got to write the whole thing myself. But we're getting there. We're getting there.
Would love to see the final product.
Yeah. I will probably be recruiting VAs to the Script Guild and other means. So yeah. I'm sure people will know when it starts happening.
We do have our little section to ask people for collabs. So for people who aren't in the server, that's a great opportunity if you want to join collabs. We have little collab groups that you can join in, and they're pretty regular too. Like, I know a lot of people are active in joining these, so if you're interested, you can join our ASMR Script Guild Discord. And I think one last thing I wanted to, yeah, one thing I wanted to end off on for your section was that I honestly, like, from a listener perspective, honestly, not even just as a writer perspective, but as a listener, I kind of wish I saw more VAs do this, where they showcase their process more, because you get some really interesting answers from people on how they get certain sounds to work, how they, pretty much anything works, honestly. Like, I've heard some very interesting methods that people use, like, to muffle sound effects. I've heard the towel method, that people put towels on top of their microphones and stuff, so I can only imagine what certain people do to get things to work.
That's another big one. There's
I would love to see more of that.
Serious lack of resources dedicated to teaching new VAs in that regard. Knowing the process would help a lot.
That's also what
like for the newcomers.
What our YouTube channel is for. We actually allow people to send in videos if you want to create a resource for us, and we can add it to the channel. We have a couple of VAs who have showed off their methods. So opportunities for anyone here.
I've actually thought about trying to create a video of showcasing some of my process, but I think about where I would post it, and I'm just I do have the second channel of just me being clipped and whatnot, but I'm just is that really? I don't know. This would be good though. Thank you for pointing that out.
If you do, we will post it, definitely. We could have we'll need any resource that's available to us. That's what this channel was initially made for. Alrighty, let us move on to the second to last personalized questions. This is for Beyond, and this is, okay, so for Beyond Usual. What sort of content inspired you to get into making ASMR RPs? Were there any audios or creators that had an influence on you or the sort of content you make?
Well, there were a bunch of influences, but there's three main ones. One of them people have heard more about, the other two not really. My main influence, as in where most of my prompts come from, is Macalda Ray. He's a somewhat big YouTuber who does things more polished than mine, and she has more of a presence, of course, because, 90k subs. But yeah, that's my eventual aspiration, is to match her in production value. The other inspirations are Night Fawn and Dangerous ASMR. And as for what inspired me to get into making this, I've always been a little bit interested in it, but never did really bother until I learned that there was actually a decent market for male VAs. I didn't realize that was a thing back when I was just a listener. And then I didn't expected it to be like chicken feed in terms of views and popularity, and that's it. And yeah, I've been doing what I can to make with as high production value as I can with what little I have. I used a different version of Audacity called Tenacity and a $40 mic. and I've been using it along with a ton of SFX in order to try to match the production value of the people that inspired me.
Interesting to hear this perspective. I was gonna comment on something, but I think like you kind of just
Oh,
went
go ahead.
over. I was trying to remember what exactly it was.
No, sorry, go ahead.
Oh my, well, I'm just trying to remember what it was because you you went on to so many tangents, and I'm like, wait, where was I? I know somebody mentioned McCall Ray like way back. In one of the other podcasts, so seems to be a very, I guess, common person to want to aspire to be. I feel.
Production value was mint, and that's not an understatement. That's like 5-star grade.
Also, no, I just remembered what it was that I was going to comment that it was the male VA thing. Honestly, I feel like in my experience, I've seen more views from male VAs than I have female. Like I've seen million plus view videos for like M4F content. It's a huge market, I feel.
Yeah, I'm a current. I think it's just a matter of who's looking at what, because since I'm always looking at female VAs, that's all I really see. And like, you don't really see the males from my perspective.
And that's also kind of how I got started with this, where I was watching male VAs and a lot of bigger name people, and you see like hundreds of thousands of views on these. A lot of the times, and I think the ones that tend to be a little bit more popular are the ones that do improv slash their own content. It's a little bit more
Improv.
saturated when it comes to things like script fills and such, but I mean, there are definitely people who do script fills
Improv.
that have
Very
the
fun.
audiences.
I've got a few improvs that have done well on my channel. Usually all that you need is like a premise, and then you can just carry it from that point forward. Like one of my better improvs that was very well received was one that was basically a male merfolk catching you out at sea when you're adrift.
But Sabe, sorry to jump in, but Sabe, yeah,
Wait,
one of yeah, so I did an improv that was a merfolk that gets caught in like a trash or whatever, and that did pretty well. It wasn't like amazing well, but it was pretty good.
Mine was lit, yeah. My channel's a bit smaller than most people, so 2,400 is actually a decent bit in terms of views.
Oh yeah.
Um, I'd say for anyone else looking to start out, here's my quit. Don't stress over the equipment. The equipment is secondary to skill. You don't need much in order to get a decent following. I mean, it'll help, but I started out. Well, we weren't recording when I said this, but I said that the first videos that I recorded were recorded without even using a voice recorder. It was recorded using my video app with the actual camera end being laid down in my bed so it doesn't pick up any video. It's just a black screen with my voice on a phone mic, and that's how I started out. And I got good reception. It's never going to be about the equipment if you just start out.
Yeah, I will second that 100%. I started recording on my phone, and to date, some of my most popular audios have zero SFX whatsoever. So if you really just like give your all to the story and to the improv, or to the script, as the case may be, that's really all you need. It's not about necessarily the production quality.
Mm-hmm. Another big thing to never stress. You're going to hate your own voice when you start out. Everyone does. The best VAs that you see usually don't like their own voice. What matters is if other people like it, and you won't know that until you post. So that's why I say you should post before you come to any conclusions on your own about it.
I would like to emphasize the importance of skill, because I feel like, and I brought this up on previous podcasts and in the server before, where you see a lot of people mentioning things like, oh, I optimized my thumbnails, I picked the best scripts out there. I have some good equipment. I have all these cool sound effects. Why am I not successful? And I mean, sure, you can argue it's the algorithm sometimes, but honestly, I feel like it's the skill sometimes that people really aren't seeing. Like, you gotta like see the the forest through the trees, you know, right? Or however the saying goes. Um, where I think that's the most important aspect, and your greatest skill as a VA needs to be your voice and your ability to emote and make these characters come to life and make it feel like you're not just reading off a script, right? And
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the times
That's
it just kind of doesn't get mentioned enough.
That's the big one. It's not about knowing how to do different voices. It's about knowing how to inflect. If you can carry emotion, you can be a VA. That's all you need. Some people don't even have that much. But there are people who use no SFX, minimalistic thumbnails, but they're good at inflection, and they have several tens of thousands of subscribers. That's the big one. If you know how to inflect, you'll be able to do well.
Gotta be able to fit the fantasy, right? I mean, that's kind of the point. I gotta believe that somebody's
Absolutely.
actually talking to me as a listener. Alrighty. So, our last of the single person questions. This is going to be for Alk Audio. What is your process for developing music for your scripts? Do you create music first and base scripts around that, or do you write a script first and then write music around it? Are there any challenges you face when writing or when trying to fit them together?
Yeah, so because most of my audios are kind of like cinematic, like I usually am visualizing it like shot by shot, like you would like if I were watching a TV show when I'm writing. And that helps a lot with like uh figuring out what like the limitations are in terms of like using just audio and like what I would need to cut out. And so I treated the soundtrack like it would be a soundtrack. And sometimes I write a song knowing exactly like what it'll sound like and like intending for it to be part of a specific scene that I've already conceptualized. Sometimes it's the opposite, and I just like write a song for based on like a character's leitmotifs and like themes and what ideas I might have of what's gonna happen, like in a story later on. And it just like sits in my safe until like a scene comes up where I'm like, oh, that actually would be perfect. But sometimes like I'll have written a scene without making music for it, find that it needs it later on, and then just like whip something up, which will then turn into a full song later, which is always fun. I would say that most of the time it's the first one though. Difficulties I find like is mostly just timing, because in obviously like when I'm writing a song, I'm thinking about it as a song, like as an individual piece of art with like its own timing, but then obviously fitting it into a conversation, which I don't really know exactly how long it's going to be or what the timing is going to be within that conversation until I record it. That can be a little bit interesting. I like seeing if I can stretch out the song or if I can cut certain parts out of it to make it fit within what I want it to be.
I just have to say, any people who write music, I'm impressed by your ability to to work around limitations like that. And honestly, I was honestly
Yeah.
shocked when I heard that you said that in the form. I'm like, wait, you write your own music for your scripts? That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean that was one of the things that when I first started making audios that I was like, oh, like it felt like a no-brainer to me because like I'm a software engineer like as my career, but I also do music production. And when I started, that's what gave me a lot of the like confidence to start in terms of like technical skill, like obviously using like the software and all the tools and stuff. And I had my equipment that I used for music, like microphones and all that kind of stuff. And so going into it with that knowledge, I was like, well, why don't I make music actually? Because I like had seen audios that use music before, but I hadn't really seen anyone that like comprehensively makes all of their own like soundtrack and stuff themed around their own audios and such. So yeah, that just kind of became like it became part of my process. And obviously, like when I'm making my longer series, like the soundtrack has just become like a core part of it.
The fact that you're writing like motifs for your characters and everything. I mean, how long does this process take?
Oh God. I mean, when it's easier when it's planned, obviously, right? Like if I'm planning for a scene to have a specific track and I can like imagine what it would sound like and what I want it to like what, instrumentation I want to use and what I want it to sound like within the scene, that becomes easier. Um I don't know. I even like in terms of music writing, I don't really take that much of a conventional approach. It's usually like just like the funny sounds in my head, right? I don't usually like notate it or write it down anywhere. It's usually like I can play it like I can play it in my brain, and then I go to start making it like in Reaper and such, and I just like work out the details in there. That usually takes like for one like soundtrack quality song that ends up like on my like streaming and such, I would say that process cumulatively would take like a week from like writing to producing and to mastering and such. In terms of how it goes with audio, it's usually a lot shorter. Like most of the stuff that actually ends up in the audios themselves, like on my channel and on like my site and Patreon and such, is all just like it's usually just much like the trimmed down versions of what ends up on streaming. Like some of them are quite literally just like the melody or like a couple layers that then when it comes time to like pack it all together into one like album length thing, I take those like small layers and then like add to it until I'm satisfied with how it sounds, which usually takes a while.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What is the inherent advantage of Reaper as opposed to Audacity? And would you say it's worth getting?
Absolutely. I would say it's worth getting. Reaper, you can actually use it for free. Like it says that it costs, I don't remember exactly what it is, but it costs a certain
$200
amount.
for the license. Yeah.
Yeah, it is one of those programs where you can download it for free and then it says, "Hey, you need to pay for this, but if you just wait like 5 seconds, you can close that message and then just keep using it." So like it's very handy when you're starting out if you want to use it. I end up paying for the license because I'm just like I've been using this for like 3 years for free. I might as well. Um, and the advantages of it over Audacity, I think, is just that it obviously is geared more towards music production than anything else. But once you learn to use it, it's much more in line with what most people expect out of like a DAW, like a digital audio workstation. You can use like all sorts of like plugins and such. It comes with a lot of plugins actually that are very useful in terms of like EQ and compression and noise removal and such, which Audacity does do, but I find that the interface is a lot less detailed and just not as fun for me personally. Like if I'm doing EQ, I want to see the funny graph with the line that I can move around, you know. It's also it gives me personally, I think it looks pretty too. It gives me a lot more room to like organize the scene and the tracks hierarchically, like having like parent tracks and child tracks that combine together, like the characters and then the sound effects grouped together under one thing. It's good for organization.
It's also just easier to see like when something's like sectioned out. Audacity is pretty. It doesn't communicate like clips and sections of audio very well. I have found, and like moving stuff around in Audacity is not intuitive in my opinion.
Mm.
Like I like just adding on. Sorry, since I also use. I've used both, and I found Reaper to be a bit more intuitive. There's still a learning curve, like, but it's a less steep learning curve, I would say.
That's another thing for anyone just starting out. The editing software is going to be one of the biggest learning curves that you take. Because, wow, that stuff is intimidating.
Yeah, I would say also that like I said, I think I mentioned it before, I haven't used Audacity in like years, so I don't know exactly what it's like now. In Reaper, like it's mainly for me like the having your own like organization and workflow can make things move a lot faster. And a lot of Reaper's like tooling and UI and stuff is very responsive. It's easy to see like what's louder than what needs to be adjusted. You can also like I make extensive use of like color coding tracks and like resizing them to emphasize certain things. So yeah, I would definitely recommend trying to get into it. If anyone needs help, I can sure help. I love talking about this shit. So yeah.
Does Reaper require the use of an audio interface? I feel like I saw that somewhere, which is why I haven't ventured in that direction because I don't have one. Does it not?
It does not.
It Reaper lets you choose what your like input and output sources are manually, and so it helps to have one, obviously, but you can choose Windows or Mac or whatever you're using, like the base source as an option.
Okay, all right, good to know.
Also need to extend the offer of if you have a video you want to share with us on our channel about how to make this. Like we will definitely take it.
I have been thinking about it a lot, actually, like making like videos about specific tools and about using audio plugins, and also like because like I do software stuff, I've been thinking about making my own as well for other VAs. So that's something that I've been hoping to get into.
Honestly, I just need more people to know about the Reaper plugin because, oh my god, just being able to subtract out your background noise.
True.
Like, just here.
Is it really that easy? There's not just a button
Yes.
for that.
Okay, let me describe it for, or unless you want to, Al.
Profile.
Yeah, I mean, it does the same thing basically that the Audacity plugin does, but basically you just need to have a little clip of what just your background noise. And in this plugin you can set it like it does more than just this. It's like a very multi-purpose plugin, but you can set it to subtract a specific noise from whatever like your entire track. You like set it to build your noise profile, play your background sample on loop, and it'll visually show you what parts it's picking up. And then once you have that set, whatever else you put into the track will have those exact points, literally subtracted from it.
That's pretty useful because it's smart enough to know and plan ahead for it.
Yeah, it's very handy.
The other thing I've had, sorry, in addition to that, the other thing I've had is where sometimes it won't catch something, and I can go into the graph and manually subtract stuff. Because I've had like little like very high pitched whines sometimes make it through because I have a home lab sitting in the like the closet of the room where I record. So there's like something in that setup that has a very high pitched whine that sometimes comes through on my recordings, and my god, being able to subtract that manually if it doesn't get caught by the noise reduction or whatever. Oh, yeah, it's so necessary for me.
Yeah, definitely. That's another like arm of like Reaper's UI just being a lot more responsive than Audacity's. It's a lot easier to have control over.
It's fine. Oh my gosh, OBS, please. Don't disconnect on me. Don't do this.
No.
Okay, it's reconnected, apparently.
Hmm.
This is what happens when we use a program like OBS. It doesn't want to cooperate sometimes. Hopefully that didn't cut off too much, but we did get a lot of great info for this question. Let's try to move on, though, just because we're already like almost an hour into this. On the first question for everybody.
Damn.
See, this is what I told you guys about being yappers, you know. So, all right, let's move on. These are the multi-person questions. I actually want to ask Cody. I know you mentioned something about doing improv. Do you want to count yourself as both a VA and a writer for this, or just a VA? Just so that I know what type of questions to ask you.
Oh, I'm trying to look at these for writer questions. Yeah, I could answer some writers' questions, I
Okay,
think.
we'll
Like
add
the
you to that
first the
list.
first two, I would be able to answer those. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll add you to that list.
Okay.
I can answer them too, actually.
Okay, right. Who? I'm trying to remember.
Crim- I made a mistake at the beginning. My username may be beyond the usual, but my actual channel name is Crimson Quill.
Because I know you signed up as both, so you were already going to be on that
Yeah.
list. That's why. I just want to make sure because I know like some people only signed up as VAs and now they're saying, "Oh, I do writing," and I'm like, "Okay, I don't know. Do you want to answer the writer questions?" But okay, I guess we're doing that too. All right, so for our first question for multiple people, so from Grain of Salt, it's for writers. How do you keep and manage your draft concept and pieces of ideas that haven't been realized into a completed script? Actually, Beyond, you are first.
Oh, okay. I'm very ad hoc about it because I don't adhere to the academic writing process. There's no draft. I have a concept, and then I make a skeleton script out of said concept, which is basically just a long summary that tells you what's happening, and then you fill in the meat of it afterwards, and then that's the draft that you actually use. So it's a 3-part process. I keep all of my concepts in a physical notebook that I have. I write them in person first, and then I make them into a Word document after. Since I don't particularly care, since I'm a YouTuber and I usually make them for myself, I'll sometimes pitch the ideas to other writers in the hopes that they will do it, or like someone will pick up the idea. So, excuse me. For instance, there's this one idea that I've been throwing around where it's like a gargoyle meeting a gorgon and then making a script out of that. I'll eventually make it, but if someone else beats me to the punch, I'm going to use theirs instead. And that's how it works.
Sort of like an adoption of ideas. I know some people over on our inspiration sharing channel like to share ideas just for people to kind of pick up if they want to. So I guess it's kind of a good resource, I would say. I don't know if you use it as a resource or anything like to put out your ideas or if it's in a specific place.
Oh, usually it's in person. I literally just, if I find a writer in VC, then I bring it up.
Okay, it's just like, hey, I found somebody here. You want to do this script idea? I mean, whatever works, right? Let's see.
I do need to start making use of like adopt a prompt, I think they're called.
Honestly, that might be an interesting. Actual, I was gonna say we kind of have an event that's sort of like this, but it's more of VAs posting script ideas that they like. We just had it this year already, but it was specifically for VAs who had script ideas that they wanted to exist, and they put them all in a thread, and then writers can come in and just write whatever from that list. So it's a good opportunity for VAs who want specific types of narratives that may or may not exist, or if they do, it's not in your particular preference. So again, unfortunately, it's already happened this year, but we'll do it next year again.
For any writers listening, we need more Drider Comfort audios. They are unreasonably popular. I don't know what it is about like giant Drider Comfort audios, but
will
like
say, I've
people like
done
them.
I've done a few Arachne in the past, and they've gotten pretty popular. So I will consider doing some Drider and more Arachne stuff in the future.
More monster scripts in general. I need that stuff.
Actually, a little shameless plug. For my channel, in the background I've been working on my first ever massive ASMR project, and it's a Halloween project featuring 6 VAs, which most of them are in the Script Guild Discord. One of the VAs will be doing excuse me, an Arachne, a motherly Arachne for the project. Most of the audios, if you guys want to schedule, if you guys need a schedule, most of the audios are coming out on the 28th. I know one of them said most likely on the 31st. They will be on my channel in a playlist, so if you're at all interested in listening, mark your calendars for the 28th and the 31st.
I guess I should plug to since the majority of my stuff is monster, there's a lot of I do have an Arachne audio, and that's it. Because like you said, they're not as easy to come by as they should be for how popular they are.
Does anyone know why those ones are popular? Like, this is my first time hearing about what a Drider is, but like, why? Like, what is the aspect of that
one
specifically?
of them is just the innate fear of spiders.
Okay.
The other one is like the webbing aspect. There's a lot of ways to fool with that.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the one I did, it's pampered by a gentle Drider. It was Turtle Shark is actually the one who did the script. It's a really good script, by the way. I highly recommend it. And it like there's this like it's just all throughout. It's like comfort for a traumatized listener, and like they actually use the webbing in a creative way where the listener is kind of like wrapped up in the webbing, as I remember, and also the webbing is used so like if you like pluck on it, it calls the Drider to you at any time. So there's a lot you can do with that aspect of it. And I think the fear of spiders also draws people in like weirdly, you know. It's like getting comforted by something you would usually be afraid of. So it's definitely not my most popular audio, but I mean, it pulled in 8K views, so, and it continues to pull in views over time. So
Seems
it's one
like
of those ones people
in
just
that
keep
same
coming back to.
category as like Yandere's. I brought this up before. How while it does have several aspects to like those characters have several aspects to them that would be attractive to certain people, you know, like the obsessiveness and having someone who knows you without you having to try it. But I also think I kind of like to compare it to going on like a roller coaster or something where there's a sense of danger, but you also realize that you're safe too. Like you can very easily turn off the audio, so you get to have that thrill, but having control as the listener to stop whenever you want to. So I feel like it's kind of the same mindset maybe when you're bringing in types of characters that are a little bit more scary. That's probably why like the serial killer type characters are scary too. Like they're scary, but people like them.
I refuse to do one unless it is like a specific event for a serial killer one. I just don't like the idea.
It's such a popular genre. I've been trying to defeat them, but
I never know why it's so fucking popular.
I tell you, like it's really about a lot of different things. Like one of them comes down to someone just being so obsessed with you. The stalking aspect, despite, you know, you don't want to be stalked in real life, but somebody who's going out of their way to learn about you without you having to try. And I feel like a lot of people have this fear of putting themselves out there, and just having someone who does the work for you, I think, is appealing to certain people.
Oh, yeah. I also think there's like people talk about it, but like how there used to be more of the man chasing after the woman, and that's not as much of a thing these days. Obviously there's dudes who do it, but I think there's more demand for that than people realize, and I feel like yanderes fill that demand in definitely a very unhealthy way, but because it's fiction, you can just disengage from it whenever you feel uncomfortable. So I I think you're absolutely nail on the head there, Bluechan, like 100%.
I think it just fits like a perfect storm of things that a lot of people want.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Absolutely.
sure, like there's a lot of
Audios,
messed up
too.
stuff that yanderes do, but in the end, again, like it's no different than going to a horror movie where, you know, some people get the thrill from that, but at the same time, you know, you can, like, you're not in that situation yourself. You're not being stalked, you're not being kidnapped. There's no sense of the unknown there. You know that you can just leave whenever you want to, and I think that's kind of part of the appeal.
Absolutely.
But anyway, we're kind of sidetracking from this question. So
Yeah.
let's move on. Devi, you're next.
How do you manage your draft concept? I'm gonna answer this question in exactly 6 words. Head empty, no thought, only writing. That's my entire answer for anyone who's like, how do you organize
Incredible
everything?
work.
That's the
Like,
that's
that's
the
the
neat
great
trick.
part. You don't.
I don't at all. I will
protest
think of a
that
script,
statement.
I will start writing it, and I will continue to write it until it's a finished script, and then I post it on Reddit and have a good day. I'm pretty sure me and Bluechan had experienced near the exact same thing when writing a script, if I'm correct.
Well, no, I'll talk about it when I get to mine. I'm actually
Yeah.
ridiculously organized when it comes to my scripts, and
Oh, okay,
Oh,
so we are like the polar opposites.
no,
I do not
like I'll
organize,
talk about
really.
this when I get to my
Yeah.
because I feel like a lot of people don't do my Actually, I'm actually next after you, so I don't know. Do you have any other comments before I?
I mean, the only way I would organize is by script category. If it's a hypnosis script, it goes in the hypnosis folder. If it's a yandere script, it goes into a yandere folder. That's kind of the only way I organize everything. Aside from that, write the script, finish the script, post the script, and move on. Start something else.
Honestly, I think in some ways it does sort of help, especially if you get writer's block. It's just, you know, get it out there, move on, and don't dwell on it
100%.
too much, I feel.
As someone who's attempted to write 40 scripts in 40 days and then stopped halfway through because, dear God, I'd never want to do that again. It is liberating to finish a script, but at the same time, if it's not, you don't have to organize it per se, unless it fits a certain niche within the scripts you've written.
Well, okay. I was gonna say, well, I'm next, but I have a very different take on this. I also kind of talked about it, I think, in previous podcasts, but just for the people who aren't familiar with my content, I have this very big Google Doc with a bunch of ideas, and I try to add at least one every week. It's not always how it works out, but I usually have a system in place to make sure that I have more ideas to add on to over time. And I don't always know which one shot or series I'm going to do next. Well, more like series, I probably know what I want to do next compared to like a one shot, but like the one that I'm going to be writing this week, I was barely writing notes for it yesterday. So it's been on my list forever, but I only just kind of started getting some ideas for what I wanted to do with it. And I feel like that's how it is for a lot of my one-shots, where they're a little bit less organized in that all I have is just a concept or a title on my doc. And then over time, when I think to myself, oh, okay, I have some ideas for how I want to do this, I'll add on to it. But for the most part, I let the dialogue kind of write itself, in a sense, where majority of how I write my scripts is that it's just a conversation where obviously when you're talking to another person, you're not really going to think too much about how you're going to respond several lines from now or whatever. So it's more of a back and forth for me. So that's kind of just my process for script writing in general. But in terms of the planning process, I'm actually very meticulous when it comes to my series, where I'll have at least like 2 or 3 series planned in advance, and I will know exactly what's going to happen in every single part. And this is done probably months in advance before I even get to them. I just like having them on the side and just saying, okay, this is what's going to happen in this part, this is what's going to happen here, this is how many parts we're going to have total. And I like to do this specifically for my VAs, actually. And not even just that, my readers, because I've seen so many writers do this where they drop their series because, you know, they had an idea and then they get writer's block or whatever. And, you know, you hate having a story just end abruptly just because the writer didn't know what they were going to do with the narrative. So I try to do this for myself where, you know, I don't want to let people down, right? I want to make sure that you get to hear the full story and not have to think about whether you're going to see the end or not. So again, I meticulously plan things out, and it's also specifically for my VAs because I know a lot of VAs who like to start series before they're even completed. So I like to write down all like the content warnings and stuff because certain things are not going to happen early on. Like I have a series that I wrote where like halfway through there's just Yandere screaming happening. And so obviously this doesn't happen at the beginning, but I want to make sure that VAs are aware of this before they start the series because I feel like it's fair for them. Same goes for if there's going to have multiple VAs in them, because I can't expect them to start a series and say, oh, well, I don't have somebody that can help me out with this series because I didn't know that we were going to have more than one person working on it. So I like to be very specific and very upfront, transparent with anybody who wants to work on my script. So that's just how I do things. It's different, but my general goal is to make life easier for my VAs.
As someone who has started a series before it was finished, thank you. Also, I don't do that anymore. If a script series is not finished, I don't do it. There's like I think it's up to 20-something part, like vampire ASMR series that I want to do desperately, but it's not done. And there's like months between each post, and I just like every now and again I check in on it. I'm like, is it done? Oh, okay. Oh, tragic.
That's another thing too. Anytime that I start a series, every single week, I'm not going to have anything in between them unless I do like a multi-script per week. Because my general schedule is I'll always post on Saturdays. I posted a script today already. If I need to change it up, it might be on Sundays or Fridays, whatever. But for the most part, I stick to a schedule. And if I start a series, that's the only thing I'm going to write for the next several weeks or however long it is, so that people know that it's going to be completed and they'll know when those next parts are coming out. Because again, I know some people are going to be wondering, hey, you know, is this going to get completed or not? I'm like, well, for sure under me.
Totally doesn't.
For sure.
That totally doesn't out me, as I started a 5-part Lamia Queen series a long time ago, and I haven't even written part 4 yet because I've just been too busy with other projects.
That's just how it is for some people, you know. And I've tried to get people to do what I do, but a lot of times they're like, no, I like procrastinating. I don't feel like continuing my story. I'm like, why'd you write a series then?
It's gonna take my walk of shame now.
Oh.
I will shame. I've shamed people in the chat before, and I've told them, "Hey, you gotta start completing your series." They're like, "No."
Listen.
Yeah, but I have like 20,000 ideas I want to work on before I even Get on part 3.
That's why we gotta to set a schedule for myself. But I know that some people just don't work that way for them. It works for me
Yeah.
though, and it just makes me feel better as a writer that I'm putting out
100%,
all my
yeah.
content and making sure that people can feel like I'm reliable in completing series.
Perspective, they kind of want the series in one chunk, is what the feedback I've gotten. They don't want it split up or like and whatnot. Like they want the VA to just part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5, right? Or even just release it all as one audio, right? And just all the parts together.
Yep.
And
As
you
someone who
know
has
what?
seen
Some people
so
are
many-
still gonna say sequel part 2 every time.
Can I chime in real quick? The amount of times I've seen a like one-off script have so many comments being like part 2, part 2, part 2. I'm
Every
just
time.
like, I will write this if I feel like it. But dear God, I may not live with it.
The amount of people who comment under my audios just like part 2 when, you know, or some variation of that, and I'm just sitting here like, you did not read the description and see that A, I didn't write this, and B, looked at the script and saw that it was a one shot. Like,
What's
if
worse
you
is like for my improvised one that did very well, they wanted a sequel. So I had to improvise a whole other sequel. Mind you, I pulled that video just out of my pocket, edited and made ready to post in one evening. I did the exact same thing with its sequel.
I was just gonna mention this that Venom Cat VA mentioned in the chat. They asked for the part 2 and then it flops.
Yeah, every time.
Yep.
It does.
Every time.
Every time.
It never is as good as the first.
You have
in terms of reception.
It takes skill to write both a good story and then to follow it up with an even better sequel. Like it takes skill and years of practice.
It's not even about how good the sequel it is. If it's a part 2,
it's about
people
reception.
don't click. Yeah, people just won't click. Like I actually have a very popular 2-part series. It's called I Want to Be Your Blood Bag. And part 1 has 46,000 views, right? Part 2 has 20,000 views. Now, admittedly, both successful audios, but you see the difference there. There's like a 26k view difference.
Well, like here's the thing: some people watch it 4 times instead of 2. There's like 10,000 people.
Oh yeah.
Like for example, my Merman audio, like the first one, 2,400 views. The sequel, it's not even at 500.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. See? Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Like, people don't want part 2s. Not really.
Then why do I see so many comments asking for part 2s?
That's one of the 500 people that actually.
Yeah, the audience for part 2s are very vocal, but there's not very many of them.
They are
like,
I wouldn't say rabid, but they are like ad nauseum about it. 100%.
Well, no, they will literally eat you if you don't. I hope you know that, Debbie.
Great, because I'm going to be that one person that's like, this is a one-off script first and foremost. If I want to make a part 2, I will do it when I want to. You're not going to force me to make a part 2.
To making 3 parts instead of just it was initially planned to be a one-shot, and then I ended up writing a part 2. Then people asked for the part 3. I made the part 3. Now people are asking for part 4, and I'm like, no, it ends here.
Put your foot down. Don't do it.
I'm not gonna...
It's a trap.
I don't even know what to do with it anymore. So like, I don't know what people expect from me. Like, I've already done everything you could possibly want from this.
Yeah. I wrote this as a one-shot. Okay, leave me alone. No, we want to keep asking for part 2. Like, why? Because we want it. Part 2 comes out. No one fucking does it. It's just like, are you sure?
It's just frustrating because the amount of people that flood in on that first part and then are asking for part two don't do their due
100%, yeah.
diligence to see the part two. Like they don't subscribe, they don't, like
Yep.
they're not getting in on it so that they see when the part two
100%.
goes up. And then if the algorithm isn't feeding it to all the same people that saw it the first time, it's like
Yeah.
automatically it's just gonna flop. It's gonna go
No,
like
100%.
not nearly as good. But I mean,
I did a
it is what it
ballsy
is.
move at one time. I made like a 3-part. It was basically a choose your own, like a very crude choose your own ending story, where there was like 3 videos, 1 main video and 2 endings. It was a Hollow Knight script. I made this after I realized there wasn't any real Hollow Knight content on the male end of it. I mean, like if you put it all together, it did well, but the algorithm didn't know what to do with 3 consecutive uploads that were connected.
Mhm.
Sometimes just not much. It's not thing that they can manage.
Yeah, I think with something like that, you have to have like the audio, and then you have the endings as like the ending screen where you have 3 different, where you can have like 4
Yep.
different things.
Yep.
And you just put the options in there, and you have them unlisted. I think that's what you got to do for something like
No,
that.
100%, yeah.
But that requires a more active listener experience, and then you can't transfer it over to something like Spotify. So, which I'm gonna be real, for people who want to do more series, Spotify's the way to go, because people will latch on to the podcast, and you get a lot more retention on series that way.
I swear, all
Also,
the
we've gone off
questions
topic again.
keep going off topic.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll try to kind of maneuver ourselves back to the question. Last person would be Cody. Actually, let's read through the question again. How do you manage your draft and concept and pieces of ideas that haven't been realized into completed script?
Well, my answer might give some people in the chat hives, but I have the most disorganized idea tracking process. It's literally all in just like one note on my phone. Just one singular note. I know.
No, I hate how that's literally my method too.
Oh, is it? Oh yeah, high five. Yeah,
that's how I compartmentalize all of my concepts.
Yeah, it's if something pops into my head, I open my audio's idea note and just jot it down. And I have like screenshots in here. I have ideas that I've already recorded crossed out, and I only have them crossed out and not deleted so that if I want to do like a sequel or something, I have the original idea there and can like play off of that. I also have drafts, quote unquote, in like my audio recordings where I just had kind of like a piece of an improv idea and just started going on that and then couldn't figure out how to finish it or didn't have the time to finish it. And so that's just like saved. And I'll just like sometimes scroll through those and see if anything is going to give me inspiration. But yeah, it's kind of a mess. I also have like my partially scripted stuff in my notes because I'll just jot down the general pace that I want to do, the beats that I want to hit. If I have a specific line that I definitely want to deliver in a certain way, I'll have that written out, plus like the director's notes on like the tone and how I want it to sound, because sometimes I'll write down a line and then not put the tone and like the tone notes in there, and then I'm like, wait, what was this supposed to sound like, or what was the original idea? So I try to just jot down whatever specifics I can think of when I have the thought in the moment, because if I get it out of my head and like start maybe like saying the lines to myself or something, then I will totally lose it when I go to sit down and actually record it. So I just kind of jot them down wherever, and my notes is just like, it's just a minefield. I just have to like sometimes scroll through or search specific keywords that I know I had written down in that part of the script snippet in order to find it. But yeah, it's kind of a mess. And for that reason, I have ideas from like, months or years ago that I still have not done yet because it just gets buried in all the other ideas that come up. So it is kind of a hellscape, honestly. I don't recommend it to anybody. It's awful.
I already feel stressed out.
Yeah, sorry, Blue. It's pretty messy.
I'm like, I gotta have a very
Cody, if
specific
it makes you
schedule
feel any
for
better,
everything, and it's like, no, can't leave this.
But if it makes you feel any better, I have a similar system for my own ideas that I do ad hoc and like my own occasional self-written thing. Except I have it spread across like 3 digital notes in 3 different places, as well as a handwritten journal that I sometimes add things into. So,
Oh yeah.
there is always someone who's worse than you.
Right. Well, I've got an Excel spreadsheet. I've got Google Docs. I've got the notes on my phone. Like the recorded audios in my phone notes and on my computer, like in GarageBand. It's
Oh hell,
a
hell
disaster. Yeah.
yes, excellent. Someone else who's as disorganized as me. Let's go.
Let's go.
It's like the chaos. Like, I swear. It's just, I feel like I run into too many people like this, and I'm like, am I the only one? Am I the only one of my kind?
I mean, you're not the only one, but you are in the minority.
It's so sad. I need more people like me. Or maybe not, I'm gonna be the outlier. I'm gonna be the awesome person who does all this stuff, and it's gonna make me stand out better.
Look, the quality of your script stands out for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're making a point to finish series, that's a huge deal. So you should keep doing what you're doing. It's the rest of us that needs to change.
I've thought about writing because I actually started working on this, but I feel like it's such a difficult topic to really discuss with people because I have a very specific method again of how I write my series, but I have been wanting to make like a resource for the channel at some point just to kind of give people an idea of how to organize series and a lot of considerations that people don't really think too much of. And another thing is that I feel like a lot of people don't really think too much about, I don't want to say like the formatting, or rather making it easy for people to find multiple parts, because a lot of the times you're going to see people who just post part 2, but there's no link to part 1 or part 3 or whatever. And so, I mean, like, try to make it easy for your readers, Like, you got to think about it not just from the script perspective, but also, like, is this easy enough for my VAs to find? Does it make life easier for them to actually fill your script?
I've definitely had 2 or 3 parters I found. The only reason I knew they were like 2 or 3 parts is because I found the second or third part before I found the other parts. And I had to go hunting through their profile to find the first part. It was painful.
So please do your VAs the favor, guys. Don't make them go on like an Easter egg hunt for your content.
Yeah, we want to fill your scripts. Make it easy for us, please and thank you. With the amount of people who already don't want to use Reddit's search function is too high.
Oh my!
Yeah, I know, right? I
feel like I could talk about Reddit's search function for hours on how garbage it is when trying to find stuff.
It's so bad, and I've tried to help people sometimes with it. Like, there's that one system where if you don't want to see like a specific tag, you can put minus next to it, and it doesn't always work. So it's just the worst filter system I've ever seen.
It's gone to the point where I'm just like, guys, just go on my profile.
Just go to the master list. I organize this stuff myself.
Go to my profile. I have my master list linked. Please don't use the Reddit search engine. Or if someone's like, hey, I want to fill one of your scripts, do you have any recommendations? I will just give them my master list and be like, please use my list. Don't go on Reddit. It's so bad.
It's really bad. And
honestly, like,
yeah,
go on, Blue.
I was gonna say that I remember, I don't know if anyone else saw this one person who posted the discussion about this on Reddit where they were saying, oh, like, I'm having a lot of difficulty getting people to actually find my scripts, and like they're mentioning that like I haven't posted in 3 months. I'm like, well, there's your answer, like people aren't gonna find your Reddit post because Reddit sucks.
Yeah,
you gotta post regularly.
I don't think I've seen that post specifically, but my answer would just be, well, you've been gone for 3 months.
Yeah,
there's your answer.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, I filled a script by Changeable 65 that went live just recently, and they responded that they didn't expect anyone else to ever fill it again. And it's a year-old script, but I found it because I searched Halloween on I was like, but that's kind of the reaction is like when people don't expect old scripts to be refilled again a lot of times, especially if they're not like the most popular script writer, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That reminds the majority of the scripts I find, I do them and then I look at the Reddit account and they're like, oh, that was 3 years ago. Are these people
Oh.
even alive still?
Some of my best performing stuff is stuff that was written a long time ago. Like it's yeah.
Mhm.
Like definitely go through the archives, people. There's so many good scripts that either have never been filled or haven't been filled in like a year or two, and so it's fresh for people again. Like definitely like 100% go digging. There's some good stuff there.
Another plug for the server, we also have an event for unfilled scripts. We already passed it this year, but next year, for anybody who wants to join in on that, it's an opportunity for writers to post all their content that hasn't been filled yet, or things that they want more fills of. And I think it's a good opportunity to get people's eyes on them, because again, a lot of these fall through the cracks. Like I have scripts that are like 3 or 4 years old at this point, and they still haven't been filled.
Oh, I have a few scripts that are like months, almost a year old, that just have like no fills. I'm like, oh come on. Granted, some of those are more parody niche kind of scripts, but even then, it's like, damn it, I want the script to be filled so badly.
I have this one script that has like 37 upvotes. It has 0 fills. I don't know.
Oh, okay,
It has
that would
0
make me
fills.
upset right there.
That's
37 likes.
painful.
And it's funny because it was a request. I did it last year for my anniversary, my script anniversary.
Oh no.
And so like it was like the top script like for upvotes that people want, and it has no fills.
Yep.
Wait, which one? I want to.
Okay,
I want to look.
I do better do this. I'm gonna.
I think
to
the
know.
most niche
Actually,
script that
we're gonna find this.
I'm-
Actually, well, let's move on
I'm
to the
not
next
promising I'll
question.
fill it.
Actually, no. Let's
move on to the next
move on to the
one
next
while you find
questions
it.
while I look for this, because it's gonna take a little bit,
Yeah.
and you're actually up next for the next question, Aku. So, yeah, let's move on. So we're not yapping too much on this, but I will find that script for you. But anyway, so going on to our VAs, how do you set the pacing of your voice acting? Have you ever felt that you're speaking too fast or too slow? And Aku, you are first.
It's way easier to go too fast than it is to go too slow. Way
I agree.
easier.
I 100% agree with that, Crimson.
Mhm.
As far as like the way I set my pacing, I mean, I just do it. The only thing I had issues with, and I don't know if any of y'all had issues with this early on, was figuring out the gaps for listener like the listener call response. I don't know if you guys do that or not. I definitely leave. You do. And I definitely leave a lot less gap than I used to. My stuff is paced a little bit faster than I used to pace it, and that has resulted in it's like a 3% gain in retention, from 30 to like 33% gain in retention. I've noticed having a little bit less of that gap. So people do want that gap, but they don't want too much. So finding that balance is really hard. Now I just do it all on automatic. It's not even like a consideration for me anymore, but I spent a lot of time thinking about it early on, and like how much gap should I put in, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. But yeah, as far as like the speaking and whatnot, it's basically just my normal like talking cadence, but just like minus 10% speed generally. Unless I'm trying to like do something purposefully seductive, and then I'll like slow it down more. Or if I'm doing my orky voice, it tends to be a bit more slow and deliberate. Or if I'm doing the vampire voice, I have to really draw everything out because that's just how vampires talk, darling. So there's that, and it's at the end of the day, it depends. Yeah, but generally a little bit slower is better in my opinion.
It also gives you time to read ahead and inflect, which is kind of like the main advantage of it.
Yes. Yes.
I think for me also, like, it's not really the speaking itself that I usually have trouble. It's always the spacing between lines that I end up having to stretch out, which I always find interesting. I'm always like, because it's easy for me when like acting stuff out based on obviously like the tone and the writing and what's happening to speak as if it were me in the scene experiencing what's happening. But then for some reason it's like I'm like, even though I'm trying to space the lines out naturally, I end up like having to just either for dramatic effect or just like trying to like leave space for like implied dialogue and things like that. I always end up having to like add like to space the tracks out more in editing.
Yeah, that's also something I find myself doing is just, if I've been in the middle of my improv, I'm kind of on a roll. If there's any spaces in between where there's not really enough of a gap for the listener to have said, to have given the answer that I'm about to respond to, I'll just add a little bit of a space, or sometimes I like close the space because I've been having to think between one line and the next because I'm not sure where it's going, and so it takes a minute for that to come to me. So I'll just I do a lot of editing and post for the gaps between one line and the next.
I feel like RV has
This
just
is
answered the
absolutely.
question before we got to that.
This is
Yeah, we all
This is the
kind of
speed
jumped in on
round.
it. It's one of those things I think we all think about a lot. I definitely like don't do as much editing and post anymore for the gaps, but like I definitely used to do a ton of it. Like it's as time has gone on, I just like I nail it on during the read in general, I think. So it's just
The worst thing for that is collabs, because you got to account for everything. If you don't record it, here's this is going ahead in the question, but if you're doing a collab, for the love of God, do it in a Discord call. Do not like take two separate audio tracks and try to get them together, because that's just a headache.
that's how I do it. I just slap two audio tracks together. It's fine.
Yeah,
whatever. It's just,
I
it's
do
a
that
bit
all
more
the time.
work, but yeah,
A bit
mean,
more work.
yeah, it's
I
fine.
think the issue with Discord is that a lot of the times the quality gets messed up
Yeah.
over call. So
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to
something that
turn
I
off
actually
all of the
do with a
Discord
friend of
settings,
mine.
right?
I help out with his videos sometimes, or I do collabs with him on his YouTube channel. Is that we both are in a Discord call, but we record ourselves through like Audacity, and we just do like a little snap or something, just so that it's timed at the same time when we're talking to each other. So I mean, it's an option. I mean, it kind of helps a little bit more with the audio quality. I mean, I'm not a VA, but it's just something I do.
No, that's a good way to do it.
It also helps if sometimes if you can give the other person like the chance to edit their own voice the way they like to, it can help sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The other thing for me, like doing the audio separate, is scheduling. Because I don't have much time, and I have like very specific times that I record generally. So, and that's not gonna match up with everyone, and it's just, yeah, scheduling is hard.
So I'm about to send you that script.
Oh.
And I sent it to your DM.
I am desperately curious about this.
It has 37 upvotes on Scriptune and 0 fill. It's months old too.
Oh, it's 10 months old even.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
It's
brutal.
almost a year.
Hold on, I'm gonna. Okay. Well, it's
I'm gonna
sci-fi, so that's half your problem
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there. Yeah, Congratulations. I've identified most of your problem. It's science fiction. People are automatically turning away.
I know.
This is fine. I'm
You don't
sorry,
even
I'm
have to
skimming
put
it.
it as like
there's-
sci-fi, but like I needed a genre for it, basically. That was one of the closest ones.
I found my most niche script. It's hysterical.
It's not even my most niche script. It's a Yandere script too.
See, of course it. my niche one is a Godzilla themed script where the speaker is Mothra and the listener is Godzilla. I don't know why I wrote it like a year ago.
Also, I will point
Keep
out
it-
that despite it being sci-fi, I mostly just put that because of the fact that it's a post-apocalyptic universe. That's it. There's
No,
really
that's
nothing
fair.
like particularly
Yeah.
sci-fi about it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing really sci-fi about it, and it's like it's not terribly short. It's not terribly long. Like I've literally never seen this script, so
Yeah.
yeah, it never popped up across my feed. I don't know. I'll bookmark this. Maybe I'll do it.
It's a Yandere script, so
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yandere does well usually. So
For any new writers, please do not start doing Yandere. I suggest you start with something you like and then progress into Yandere. Just little thing from me.
Another thing
Unless you
of
really
note
like
is that,
Yandere.
and I've
Unless
noticed
you really
this,
like Yandere,
I've noticed
correct.
this a lot from people who have this tendency, and I've created myself the Yandere bingo board of where
What?
like the Yandere like bingo where like you have a bunch of different tropes like that exist, and if you kind
Oh,
of
I
look through
see.
every
Yep.
single script and see how many
Yep.
you end up finding, it's like the "you're finally awake, darling." Every time.
yes,
Every time.
every time.
I try my best to make it that whenever there's a Yandere character, it's only one aspect of their character. It's not the central personality trait, is how I'm gonna put it. I firmly believe that characters should be characters, of course, and they should have their own motivations, their own interests. And Yandere isn't really, I think, a good central personality trait for a character, just because a lot of the times it's harder to differentiate them from each other. And a lot of time you kind of just get a lot of screaming and then just really a lot of the typical stuff like creepy laughter and just they don't feel real, I think. And that's my issue with a lot of Yandere content. So if I'm gonna have a character who's Yandere, there has to be something else.
I think one of my best performing Yandere audios, I think it might be the best one, is actually a werewolf Yandere one, where there's a bit of focus on the fact that the character is a werewolf, and is sort of like giving in to the more wolf instincts of like trying to find a mate. And that's that it did really well. It was also earlier on in my channel's lifespan when YouTube was just feeding me impressions for some reason. So, yeah.
I know I said don't do Yandere at the start, but shameless plug, my first ever audio for my channel is going to be a Yandere. So,
Heck yeah.
Just remember with
Granted,
that type of
it's super-
content, just remember that even though it's popular, remind yourself that you're competing with a lot of other VAs who've been doing this for
100%.
years,
Well,
who probably have done the same script, so you really have to differentiate yourself
Yeah.
to stand
The
out.
look-
other thing
100%,
to keep
yeah.
in mind is if you start doing Yandere and you don't consistently do Yandere, expect to have your views drop.
Oh, I know that. I don't do this shit for views. I just do this for fun.
Yeah. No, I'm
Oh no, I
setting
100%
expectations.
know the. Yeah, I 100% know I'm probably gonna drop views as soon as I stop doing Yandere, which, to be fair, will be like the second audio anyway.
Yeah.
Gotta mix it up so that you
Yeah,
don't
no, 100%.
kind of necessarily put yourself into a specific niche, because when you decide to leave that niche, then you're not gonna have as big an audience. And I think that's important for writers too. I mean, I'm like the quintessential villain script writer, right? But I like to write fantasy. I like to write
Mhm.
slice of life
Yep.
stuff sometimes. So I mix and match. I mean, the script that I wrote today is something that I've never written before. I don't write Android scripts, but I wrote one today. But last week I
Yep.
did I did a villain script, you know. So I go back and forth
Yep.
with my content, and I think it's worth doing just to kind of give yourself an opportunity, like even if it's between like popular content. Just give yourself time to do whatever you feel like doing. You know, like sometimes your audience is not really going to be receptive to it, but you know, as long as you're enjoying yourself, right?
Absolutely. I have stuff that's on my channel that I like more than a lot of the other stuff on my channel, and it's barely broken 100 views. Frankly, some of my favorite audios I've done are like my worst performing ones.
I freaking hate
Oh,
that.
100%,
That's something I despise about doing this. My absolute best audio is mid in terms of its reception.
Oh,
Yeah, many such cases, unfortunately.
100%. One of my most proudest scripts has like very little fills, and I'm just like,
Take a look at my freaking Headless Horseman audio. I put like a ton of work into it, and then nothing happened.
yeah. Well, one of my favorites recently that I did was, it's called Decaying Alone Together. It's a Dryad X Zombie script, and it is like one of the saddest things ever. 261 views. I think it's really, really good, but people didn't like it.
Should we just go in a
It's gonna
circle and say
happen,
what our
but, you
favorite
know,
underrated audios
and,
are?
and I think this is actually going to tie in probably to the burnout question that's going to come later, but I think it's worth doing something again, like even if nobody else is going to enjoy it, do something for yourself, you know, keep yourself interested in your own content. Don't force yourself to continue making a specific niche or genre just because your audience enjoys it.
or if you're a script writer, I like to throw this tidbit every time I discuss script writing. If you're a script writer and you don't know how to write the listener's reaction to what a speaker is saying, or you don't know how to write the listener in general, just do a self-insert. Unironically, it makes the process like 50 times easier if you just do a self-insert for your script when you're starting out. Because it
sometimes
allows
that might
you
actually
to
kind of conflict with things, because if anything, like sometimes I write my
sometimes,
characters
yes,
to
but-
be more like myself. Like the speakers end up being more like myself. Like I'm super snarky and
yeah.
stuff, so like they end up being snarky. But do I have a listener
Yeah.
who's also snarky?
That's why I totally throw it as like a helpful thing for beginners. But if you're starting to get into more like intermediate, or if you've been doing this for a long time, just do whatever you like. But if you're a beginner, I would start with more self-insert style of writing, just to get a feel for how you want to write and how your characters want to interact, etc. But that's just my thing.
Reminder that one of the greatest or most popular pieces of fiction of all time, Dante's Inferno, is literally a self-insert.
100%, yep.
So, you know, if you ever feel bad about doing a self-insert, just remember Dante did it. Like, Dante did it, and literally one of the most impactful pieces of writing in existence.
Yep.
So, changed the shape of a major religion. So, you know, do whatever you want to do. Doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's,
Okay, I just
you know,
feel
it's
like we
all
went
part
way
of my
off.
plan to convert people to the villain worship religion. So, you know, maybe you're onto something.
I recently
Excellent.
started doing villain scripts, and guess what happened? They got popular. They got
Exactly.
fills. Now I'm just thinking to myself, why the fuck did I do this from the start?
Exactly. We got it. We have to defeat the Andres, guys. Come on. Let's do it.
But there's the problem though, is that you could do yandere villains.
You can, but it's not the only thing you can do with them. Villains are so versatile.
No, but
they don't have to
it's
be
one of the more
Andres.
popular things to do, which is hysterical to me. Anyway, I think we just got off topic.
We
again.
are always going off topic.
Next question.
I feel like everybody answered the question, though. Does anyone else have
Yeah.
anything to add to this, or can we move on?
Nope. I think we could just move on.
Okay, let's move on. This one's for everybody next. I think. Let me grab OBS. We're getting
Oh, this
somewhere
one's going to
with
bring up
these questions.
this
We're just
one. This
yapping.
one's going to bring up another tangent. I can already feel it. I already read ahead.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh no.
I'm about to have a tangent on this one.
We'll get to it. We'll get
Due
to it.
to- due to recent posts.
before Devi goes off on a certain person that I will not name,
Oh, we're gonna
Let
get
me
to that.
just
We're gonna
bring-
spill the tea, guys.
let's just go into the wonderful world of modern art sourcing and all of the stuff that AI brings to it. So,
Oh.
Pinterest, the place used to have respect, but now here we are. And that's just the thing is, since there's so few places to go to source art for thumbnails, that I literally have a disclaimer on my channel saying that if I use someone's art and like they want either credit or they want me to take it down, I will do it without question. I have to put that up because Pinterest does not offer a method of sourcing it back to the person who created it.
Oh, and
And you don't even know if it's a real piece
help.
of art. It does not. And freaking AI art has saturated Google search, so you have to go to websites for it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Devi.
Okay,
Ju-
well,
just to
actually,
clarify-
wait, let me. Well,
Actually,
have
I was
to
about
do
to say,
the-
can we
I
have
have to do the
Lucian ask the
randomizer.
question first?
anyways,
Oh,
let's
okay.
let's actually ask the question. But everyone already seems to know. This is for everybody. Is there a section of your terms of use, video description, or other text you've written somewhere that people should pay more attention to? And funny enough, Debbie's first.
So, if you are a writer, please have this in your fucking terms of service. Do not allow the use of AI voiceover for your scripts.
I bet
Just-
you're wondering how that came on.
I
Direct your
It's
yes.
almost like there's a
So-
200 upvoted discussion
It's-
post
yeah,
on Reddit.
so for context, for anyone who doesn't know, I made a post on the ASMR Script Haven subreddit a few days ago. After I recently discovered an ASMR channel that only uses AI for their thumbnails, for their background, for their voiceover. It's super cringe. It's so stupid. It's uncreative. It's absolutely disgusting. And they used one of my scripts. They didn't credit me. The only reason why I found it to begin with was because I was searching my name on YouTube, just in case there was some audio fills that I didn't know about from like months ago. Just innocent searching. I found it, and at first, because for people that don't know, I'm more relaxed with AI art. I much prefer, just in case anyone goes after me, I much prefer human. However, I can understand that commissioning human art can get expensive. I can understand if you're not the greatest artist or if you don't know where to go to search for good art. I understand. Is AI lazy? Yes, I much prefer AI, not AI, human art. But I for the most part am lax with it. I don't necessarily care that much. But after only listening to 10 seconds of the fucking audio, I had a huge gut feeling it was all AI. So I double checked with a few people I knew, and they also confirmed that it was AI. So, being the writer and being the person who, wanted to spread this script among VAs only, I took it upon myself to make a total rant post about it on Scripthaven. And by God, did it blow up. If you are a writer like me, if you're just starting or if you're a veteran writer, please, for the love of God, in your terms of use, terms and conditions, please put in that you do not allow AI voiceover whatsoever. It's uncreative. It's not smart. It's lazy as hell. And the worst part is that they most likely won't credit you and they will profit from you. So just don't. Just do not allow AI voiceover. For the love of God, that's my rant. I'll have someone else take over.
I'll comment on this when we get to my section, but well, actually, all I'm gonna say is that some people just don't read. That's all.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
But it's not my turn. So Beyond is next.
Oh, I already said my part.
Okay.
The hardest thing for me is sourcing like different. Since I have a variety of different character types, I can't just use like one specific character like human thumbnails. So since I have to source it for one creature, then it gets hard to find artwork without finding the artist attached to it. That's why I have that disclaimer that I will take it down if they don't want me to have it up. Because sometimes I just straight up can't find the artist, even if it's the perfect piece for it.
Okay. I guess since you already said your section, actually let's move on. To Cody, you are next.
In my terms of service that my voice is not to be used for AI training. That is like so beyond unethical and just completely unacceptable. You know, I don't ever want my voice being represented by anyone else for anyone else that is, you know, outside of my consent and outside of my own work. So it's not in my YouTube videos, but I do have that on my website in my terms of use page. And if I ever end up offering download options, that's going to be, you know, something that the purchaser has to agree to. That is not what my voice will be used for, just because, you know, I despise AI. I will say, just sort of in response to what Devi was saying, if you are trying to make thumbnails and like, you know, I agree that commissions can get expensive and it can be kind of hard to source real person art that's available for, you know, just anybody's use. You also don't have to have a character art. My thumbnails have not really made a huge impact on the amount of interaction that I've gotten on my videos. I have videos with, you know, like some of them I have a couple of commissioned pieces for the character art, and those do just as well as ones that I've just like thrown together on Canva. You know, I have kind of a stalker kidnapper video that I put up recently, and the thumbnail for that is just a picture of a car driving down a dark road, and then I had the text from, you know, just like a quote from the video on top of that, and that performed just as well as the thumbnails that have character art on them. So like, just get creative, you know, like you don't have to use AI generators for you know, the character icon. And you can use, you know, if you have Canva, you can use just like little, I have like a devil silhouette for like a demon audio that I made, you know, no face required. It's just, you know, there's ways to make it work without resorting to AI because
I agree. And if I can just make one small comment, I'm lax with AI, but if you are able to make a thumbnail or like a background with little to no visuals that still works well for your audio, I'd much prefer that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it matters a lot more that your thumbnails are, if not like unique, are attractive to the eye, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have like a character. Like almost all of my thumbnails have no character art. It's mostly just like distinct iconography for different characters, or just like things that are symbolic or indicative of what's happening in the audio. And that stuff usually works a lot better for me, at least. I've done like a lot of A/B testing with my thumbnails, and the few ones that have more like specific character arc have done just as well, if not a little bit worse, than ones where there's just like distinct iconography and symbols and stuff.
Yeah.
There's so much I want to comment on, but I'm like one of the last people to go. We'll get to my part later. Let's see. We got Aku next.
And I have had the opposite experience of all of you. Anytime that I don't have character art,
Same here. Yeah, same here. It's people who make monster stuff can't get away with that. It's just.
I think that might be part of it. So the other thing it's also like specific character art. Like if I don't put like a super hunky dude, my audio is just I've done a bunch of A/B testing, and if I get rid of, I have like a red frame I use. If I get rid of it, it tanks. If I use like anybody who's even like sort of Twinkie, like even just like not a hunk, it's probably gonna tank. Unless they're completely shirtless, in which case I got a better chance there. Yeah, I feel trapped almost by that. But as far as actually answering the question, do I have anything I wish people would read? Yeah, the description. If people could read that at all, there's a button there. Show more. Please click it. Read the description. Especially the part about not using my voice for AI. That'd be great. As far as I know, it hasn't happened yet. But as Butch Cody said, that's very important to me. Don't use my voice for AI ever. If you do, I will 100% come after you. There is legal precedent, and I am not afraid to contact a lawyer. Like, but yeah, so, but yeah, please just read descriptions. Read terms of service. People like, yeah.
Find other good stuff in the description. Like sometimes we'll link our other videos that we want you to see. Or just like a background preface.
Yeah, for sure. I will say though, considering how badly my channel's been tanked lately, anyways, I've been thinking of just rebranding to not using characters at all, anyways. And some of the discussion today has me thinking about that even more. So
I will say, like, some of it may just very well be like the specific expectations that you've built with your audience. Like, it's probably tracked that like adding characters to my thumbnails don't help for me because I never had them to begin with, and so people, like the kind of audience that I'm attracting, never expected them to begin with, if that makes sense. And so if you start having thumbnails without character art in them, you will probably start attracting more of the audience that doesn't care, if that makes sense.
No, and I think I just if I'm gonna do it, I just need to commit to it. I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's probably and my YouTube channel's been kind of inked anyways for a while. Like YouTube's just not serving it. Earlier this year. My impression reach has just been cut down. So I used to get by default I used to get around 10k impressions even on like mid to low performing videos. But now I'm lucky if I get 5k. 5 to 6k.
We've been in a bad strait too, because I think it's just the month for us, because stuff has tanked pretty hard.
I don't know if we want to go too deep into the weeds, but I actually had a conversation with someone about this, and certain channels are just being nuked. Someone posted the same audio on two different channels, their main channel and then a more specialized channel that they had recently made, and the more recent channel got like I think quadruple the views or something like that. And not even with like a better click-through rate or anything. Same click-through rate, same retention. Their video was just served to more people. So YouTube is nuking some channels. It's just the thing that's happening right now. And I don't have an answer as to why. But I have the data to back it up.
So I actually want to comment on something that you said before I get to my portion, because I have a lot to say. But I know you mentioned about like hunk characters doing better for you. I feel like some people, when they check videos and such, they have a specific voice in mind for a certain type of character. So when you have like a twink character or whatever, like a very like Bishi or Bishonen type of character as the thumbnail, they're going to expect like a higher pitched voice. So when you're jumping into a video and they have a deeper voice, they're like, well, that's kind of false advertising, right? So I feel like there's expectations there when it comes to the types of thumbnails that you use, because I feel like I see a lot of like the younger types of characters doing well on other people's channels, but that's because, again, their voice is a little bit higher pitched, so there's an expectation there.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree. That's definitely the reason why I just sometimes I'm like, oh, this would fit perfect, and then I'm not thinking, and I realize after I'm like, I'm an idiot. That wasn't like it's just hard for me because like I have a voice that people like kind of expect to be associated with like a more hunky character, but I'm a twig in real life, so you know, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard.
Anyway, time for my section. I got to talk about a lot of things here. I have been a massive advocate for not allowing people to use AI based, I'm not even going to call it AI art, we're going to call it AI generated images, because I don't believe it's real art. Like, it's not made by someone who had a vision or anything like that. So, and I mentioned this before, that some people just do not read your terms of use. Like, it doesn't even matter if it's those types of thumbnails. Like, I still have issues with VAs not even sending me the videos. And this is just a consistent thing that I've noticed for years. Other
You have the issue as
have
well.
had this issue too. And I know you mentioned this, Devil's Reserve, Debbie. Same problem where I have to go searching for my own name on YouTube to find content because these people are not sending me things. And so you end up finding stuff that's months old, and it's like, why didn't you send this to me, right? Like, it's so easy to just send it to somebody. And it's funny because I've heard the excuse sometimes from VAs, and they'll mention, oh, I'm too scared to send it to the writer. You're not scared to post your content on YouTube. Why are you scared to send it to me?
Can I make one quick comment about that? I had this conversation with a VA on how they cold DM me saying they have their master list and they're going to fill a few of my scripts. And I just straight up told them, I don't care if you cold DM me. Please let me know if you film my stuff. I think a majority of writers can agree, and maybe BlueChan agrees. We're just people. You can cold DM us if you fill a script of ours. That's great. We actually want you to do that for us, so we don't have to hunt down your audience.
I definitely agree. Honestly, I don't care if you DM me. I don't care if you ping me on Discord. I don't care what you do. Send it to me in whatever way is easiest for you.
Yep.
That's
This is
all
like,
I'm asking.
I mean, I'm not asking this because I'm like, oh, well, I'm trying to find a reason not to do this. But why does it matter so much for you guys to get that link for people filling it? Do you just enjoy listening to it, or do you want to make sure that they're not?
You know, like,
Yeah.
I want to know if it's also being credited to me too, because for all I know, people aren't even using, like, they're not even crediting me in their videos. So how am I supposed to know if somebody's like impersonating me, right? Or saying that they made my content? Like, I need to know this, right? So
the biggest reason is because I just want to listen and enjoy what, you know, your own spin on the script I wrote. But at the same time, another big reason is because I want to make sure I've got credited as the writer. Like,
it makes sense.
It's so infuriating when someone does a script of yours, but they didn't bother like putting you as the scriptwriter, and it's just like, okay, I don't want to have this conversation with someone, but I'm gonna have this conversation with this person. Like,
and that's so wild to me because so for me, I have playlists of certain scriptwriters. And I include that in the description. So if you like a story and you like the way it's written, you can go click on the link to the playlist of everything that person has written that I have filled. And I think it blows me away that people don't do that.
No, I
I
do
think
something
people are
similar.
still just not even aware that we exist sometimes. Like, it can be in the
100%.
description,
Oh.
it can be pinned in a
Yep.
comment,
100%.
it can be also like in the video itself, and then people just don't pay attention. I've had
People just don't
VAs who
yeah.
write my name specifically in the script, say script by BluechanXD, and people were still attributing, like, they're still attributing the script to the VA. I'm like, it's right in front of
Mhm.
you.
Oh yeah.
Well, I've been told before, like, oh my god, so and so did this before, you're stealing from them. I'm like, this is a freely
It's
publicly
public
available
script,
want to
right?
go on a rant
written
about
by
this so
this person.
badly. I've went on a. I'm gonna leave names out because privacy reasons and all that shit. I went on a audio that used one of my scripts. They credited me. They do semi-regular script fills, I want to say, but nothing too specific. And my fucking god, it gets on my nerves. And there's this one delusional commenter saying, "Oh, this other VA did the exact same idea, the exact same script, and used the same sound effects before this audio. This person's stealing." And the VA is like, "Wait a sec, I wasn't aware of this VA. I'm not stealing. The script is available for the public." And this commenter is still going on, and I had to make a comment explicitly explaining to them that I am the scriptwriter and that I allowed this script to be used by anyone because I made it for the public use. I got so heated. I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna respond, and I'm just gonna fuck off afterwards. And if they continue to post, it's not my problem. Like,
Thank you for
no,
like
100%.
so like I haven't had it happen too often, and I haven't had people like
Yeah.
continue to be like that, but I can imagine being that situation, and I
Oh my-
I can guarantee you that VA probably was very
boils my
grateful.
blood anytime. I will say I rarely see that, but the times I see it, I'm just like, okay, so we're not gonna fucking look at the description, see who the scriptwriter is, and realize, oh wait a second, they posted the script for anyone to use if they wanted to, as long as they got credited.
Mm-hmm.
It's such an easy thing to understand. It really is.
Again, this is why I said earlier, like, if people could read the description
Oh, 100%, yeah.
at all,
Yep.
like even just like it, I used to do pinned comments.
Yep.
I just don't bother anymore because people didn't even read the pinned comment either.
Yep.
It just didn't matter. Just
Mhm.
extra effort for no reason.
Yep.
Also, before my turn is up, I do want to comment on a couple more things. Something that you mentioned, Aku, about changing up your thumbnail system. Can we please normalize the black screens? Like, there was a thing before AI was popularized where people would do black screens specifically because, and this was specifically for artists, like to respect artists that people were, I guess, quote unquote, stealing from and not crediting. And so what some VAs were doing was black screens month. And so they would just have a blank black screen, just the audio, and that's it, and just a text thumbnail, and that's it. And I mean, some people ended up being still successful with that. So I feel like we kind of need to normalize that, honestly.
Mhm.
I've honestly, I didn't do that for a long time, and I have switched to that
Yeah.
as of recent times. Well, it's a black screen with like the audio waveform thing. But yeah,
I will say I've seen more VAs do that exact same thing, where it's just a black screen with the audio wave.
mm-hmm.
And I think it's kind of better, especially for the sleep aid type scripts, because I mean, you're not even going to be looking at the screen. You're trying to fall asleep. Like, why does it matter? It looks like.
Yep.
Yeah, I just usually
you do
have
what you
like
want to do, but yeah, when it comes to a sleep aid where you're trying to get the viewers to sleep, why have a character when you're trying to put someone to sleep? Not saying it's bad or anything. In fact, I love seeing the character art before I fall asleep, but at the same time, it's like the objective is to have the listener fall asleep.
Yeah, I usually just have like black screen and then like some graphics or little story details, but it's usually all just text-based stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, it can be fun to experiment with stuff like that, especially when you have like limitations like not having character art.
Hmm.
I think it's also just having text is kind of a good way to attract viewers because you can put like a spicy line in there. Like I've seen some VAs do this where, you know, you've got some lines and little sneak peek into what the dialogue's gonna sound like. So I think that's at least a way to attract viewers.
Well, and I think it lets you put in stuff that you can't put in the title. Like I can't put hypnosis in the title of any of my
Really?
audios on. Yeah, YouTube does not like that. And the reason why there's a reason for this, and it's a legal problem in
that makes
regards to
sense,
the
yeah.
bank. Yeah, in regards to banks, because banks and credit cards have had in the past had to do a bunch of refunds
Yep.
on hypnosis stuff.
Yep.
Because like people will get hypnotized and then claim they got hypnotized out of their money and request a refund, and so it's just generally considered not friendly towards any sort of financial area whatsoever.
Mhm.
It's just kind of blacklisted in general. So people do it anyways.
I was
But
gonna say people do it anyways, but
yeah, but it like if your channel is being looked at all for monetization problems, it will immediately get you limited monetization if you have hypnosis in the title.
Mhm.
Which mine is. I am considered untrustworthy now by YouTube and have been for months. It's very sad. Even though I follow all their guidelines every time. There's hidden
Learn
ones that they
something new
don't tell you
every day,
about.
though. I did not know that's
Yeah,
why
they
it
don't
get demonetized. I would have thought
they
it
don't
was
tell you about the
like the people would think it was NSW or something, but that's actually very interesting.
Yes, I will say that is definitely a small part of it though. Because like
yeah,
you think hypnosis and you immediately think NSFW for like a
yeah.
good amount of people.
I can't even put vampire feeding in my titles anymore.
Mhm.
Like I used to be able to do that and it was fine, but I can't do it anymore now that I have the eye of YouTube upon me. Like
Mhm.
there are rules for people who are being looked at and rules for people who are not being looked at. Like there are separate
Yep.
sets of rules. Like
Yep.
it's bad. It
YouTube,
sucks.
yeah. Cause like you'll see the ASMR artists that do use those tags that are completely fine, and you see like different ASMR artists that use the tags but are like getting limited ads, and it's just like, well. But anyway, I don't want to get too off topic.
Yeah, sorry. I just go off. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
I actually had one more thing to comment on, then we'll get to Alk. Another thing about relating to thumbnails is that I've been trying to write my scripts based around certain concepts that might help VAs out a little bit. I actually have a script, and here's my shameless plug. I actually wrote a script recently. It's called Your Bad Fan Art of Your Husbando / Waifu Comes to Life. And I kind of want to give VAs the opportunity for it to make sense for you to have like a poorly drawn thumbnail, right? So I feel like more people need to do this.
Oh my god.
Give them an excuse to have a bad thumbnail and to do it themselves. Like,
Oh my
I don't care
God.
if you draw a stick figure. I mean, like, it fits the script, right? So like let's give our VAs more opportunities to do this, to where like it looks intentional in that case.
That's awesome.
New artist, new audio idea. You're a brand new artist and you make stick bug, and it comes to life.
You know, like we gotta make this a genre, guys. Make it happen.
Oh, that's amazing.
I don't want to be the only one who does this.
Coming out.
All you have to do is make it happen and have someone do really well with it, and then you're golden. People will copy.
That's why it's like I want to make more scripts like this. Another, actually, this is kind of also off topic, but Something I don't see enough of are 6-speaker scripts, which, again, there's a lot of VAs out there who want to voice something, but they're feeling too sick, and sometimes you don't want to just
I did
write
that once.
you don't want to just do like the typical, oh, like you're comforting the speaker who's sick. I try to like implement fantasy stuff into my scripts and make it all interesting, like the characters are cursed and stuff. Like, I mean, like you can do some really cool stuff with 6 speakers, and I want more people to add on to that because I feel like there's not enough content out there.
Yeah, I did an
Giving me
audio when I was
ideas.
sick once,
I'm taking
and
these.
it ended up being like the catalyst for half of the plot. So it can happen, you know.
Yeah, I will point it out as well. Reverse comfort is a search term that people do search.
Real.
Like people actively search that, and even if they're searching for injured or sick listener, it'll still often churn up your audio if you're doing injured or sick speaker. So
So we gotta
Yeah, bro,
implement
people
more
love
of this,
that
but
shit.
it's unfortunately an off-topic thing. I won't go more into that. Let's give Alk an opportunity to talk about this now.
Oh, what even is this question that we're on? Hold on.
Like where we're going down. Is there a section of your
Oh,
terms
just-
of use, video description, or other text you've written somewhere that people should pay more attention to?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I got, description would be cool. I also got like a lot of story details and stuff on my website for my like big mainline series. I'm also going to be adding like character info and stuff there too, and I also have written works on my like Patreon and memberships, just to throw my own shameless plug in there. I also would like to add also that as someone who is a software engineer, that I also despise AI from multiple angles, top to bottom. It's dog shit. And most other like software engineers who aren't just like greedy hacks agree with me also. It's a bubble and it cannot pop fast enough. Anyways, moving on.
Let's try to get through all the questions as we still have 6 more to go, and we've gone through like 4 technically.
Oh boy.
3 hour stream, gang. Let's go.
Professionalism, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. I mean, this is what happens when we got yappers, you know. Like, if we had Turtle Shark on this, we'd be here for like 7 hours, honestly.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
100%. Anyways, this is from Skittles, who is also a previous podcast member who joined us for our mini podcast a few months ago. So this is for our writers. Can you do any voice impressions? Let me see.
Nope.
Can I do this here? This randomizer does not want to work out nicely. Okay.
Oh.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna try to put myself a little bit higher on this because I know somebody's gonna steal my idea that we brought up before the chat. Let me randomize this to where I'm first.
So I'm pretty sure this is almost everyone's answer for that.
Anyways,
question.
here's the line that everybody was gonna steal from me. I can do an impression of myself. There you go.
Yep.
That's my answer. Anyway, next up, Debbie.
Pretty much.
Debbie.
Yeah. The only impression I could do is me, myself, and I. Nothing else.
I'm so sorry, Skittles. You're not gonna get a good answer from this. Let's see. How about Beyond? Can you do impressions?
Sometimes I can't even imitate myself.
Unfortunate.
Yeah.
This actually reminds me of
Loving
this
this
thing,
one.
like, because Not's actually Not Plus Zero is in the chat. We like to joke that he steals people's accents, and there's like a point where we don't even know what his real accent is sometimes. So. Let me see. Also, last is Cody. Can you do a voice impressions?
I mean, I can do a few different accents. I've been told that I sound kind of like Vi from Arcane, and I have done a video for her.
I was just about to say.
Wait, that's
You do kind of sound like Vi from Arcane.
I have been trying to figure it out this whole time.
Yeah, so so that's like kind of built in, but I also do like a voice for her when I've done one Vi audio, but I did actually like do sort of an impression for her, and people said that it was good, so I think that's probably the one I can do. So
Unfortunate that Skittles probably was not going to get the answer.
I was
probably
so
expected
confused
for
about why
everybody, but
they're
I hope
asking writers.
it's for writers for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I don't know why it was for writers. But okay.
I would understand if he was asking for VAs, but
No, it was definitely
why
for writers.
writer?
It was definitely for writers. I guess the idea is, hey, can we
Wanted
actually voice
to
things?
put you on the spot.
Huh?
Maybe.
Just wanted to put you on the spot, you know?
I guess so. I don't. Like I said, I can do an impression of myself. That's the best you're getting out of me. All right, let's move on to the next question. This is for everybody. Is there a scene or moment you really wanted to perform / write, but you weren't sure how? How did you overcome this? Let's
Well.
see. Aku's first.
Yes, all of them. So
Real
the
and true.
first audio, I just sort of rolled with it, and I've refined it since. But I think what I first came onto was basically the best, where I basically just sort of like do like a wet sucking of air through like clenched teeth, and then gulp sounds, and that just seems to work. But yeah, I mean, figuring out how to do kissing sounds was interesting. Shout out to UTC Audio for telling me to just kiss the back of my hand. The man is a genius.
It's honestly just the best way. Like that's the way.
It is. It's just it. As far as I know, it's the way everyone does it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some not safe for work stuff that I won't mention that I had to sort of just figure out. Again, similar to just the kissing stuff. But yeah, I mean, really the way to overcome it is to just try something, listen back to it. Did it sound close enough? If not, try something slightly different. Or if it's not close at all, just like, completely rework the way you're approaching it. Just do weird stuff. Eventually you'll get close, probably. That's my answer, really.
I feel like the real talent comes from having limitations. You end up realizing just how creative some people can be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. There's some stuff that like is just not safe for YouTube that I'm just not gonna say out loud, like that I've had to do sound effects for, because I definitely do not safe for work stuff on the Patreon. So I don't want to bring that up on YouTube. But yeah, there's been some stuff where it's like, how the hell am I gonna do this?
I was joking earlier with Cody about this. It was for another question, and I'm like, what's appropriate for mentioning certain NSFW content, and then I said, like, you could mention I do method acting. Or my content. That's all you need to know.
Oh my god.
If it's true, it's true.
Incredible.
I don't know. It's I don't know what you guys do if you guys do your method acting, but I don't think we need to know.
I was supposed to say that is on a need to know basis.
Yeah, you can find out on Patreon / shameless plug.
Yeah, patreon.com.
Just head over to BluechanXD.com. Yeah, you'll find out.
Yeah.
You can head over
there you
to
go.
nowhere, because that is not my lane.
akashiaudio.com.
Anyway, let's move on.
Anyway,
Actually, Cody, you are next.
Next.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I'm actually gonna totally steer clear of NSFW stuff because that's a whole different ball game. But for me, I my biggest hang up is usually when I have like a really specific scene and setting. Honestly, just trying to get from like point A to point B on those can be a little bit tricky because in my head I'm like, there's very specific, you know, places where things are going to be playing out and that kind of thing, that it's hard to convey without any kind of visual aid with it. So like a recent audio that I posted was a night audio, and it was meant to be set inside of a castle after a siege. And so I was just trying to like figure out how to like set that scene of like that sort of like haunting empty castle of like post battle, and there's not really a good way to do it, so I just ended up doing like, you know, the sound of a couple of torches burning and then like a thunderstorm outside to kind of make it a little bit eerie. But you know, sometimes you just have to like settle for not being able to really convey everything that you want to come through and just integrate that into the dialogue itself. There's actually another scene that I haven't done yet because I'm so like intimidated by what I'm trying to do with it, and basically it's like this this royalty scene where it's like, you know, enemies who are betrothed for the sake of a peace between the kingdoms, and there's this monologue that the speaker does while they are dancing. So it's like set at this like royal ball for their betrothal, and there's like talk before the dance and then talk during the dance, and I'm trying to figure out how to set up that pacing for like the music to make it so the monologue sort of like follows the flow and like the crescendo and the play out of the music. And it's really fucking tricky, and it's also hard to just like find a song that's going to be, you know, like public domain that I can use on my YouTube video without having it taken down. So that's still in the works, just because like
That is
the timing.
another thing.
Yeah.
Because something for this is a huge one for people that are looking to start out like with YouTube in general. UMG. Be careful of them and learn about them, because they will destroy you if you use the wrong type of music. And by the
Right.
wrong type of music, I mean like 90% of all music.
Yeah, so it's got to be, you know, it's got to be a song from somebody who is long, long, long dead. Like their music has been released to the public for any kind of use, really. So that's been, you know, just researching that has been half the battle. But then also finding a song that actually works for the feeling and the mood and the scene, and you know, getting the pacing of the monologue to match up. It's just pretty tricky. I think it'll be great if I can pull it off, but just getting everything right is proving to be pretty tough. So I haven't even really started on like putting it all together yet.
You know, maybe we all just have to be like Alk Audio and write our own music.
Honestly, that's what I was thinking when Alk was talking about that. I was like, hey, how do you do that? So that would be really helpful.
Listen, I also do music for other VAs. I'm just saying. I'm just putting it
Okay.
out there.
No, you might get a DM from me later, actually.
No, and my DMs are open as always.
Okay, well,
I honestly might be bothering you because I'm learning how to make my own music. Not related to like the ASMR audios, but like I've just been in general learning to sing and make music. So
No, of course, yeah, I'd be happy to help. I have a degree, guys. Like
So we got to get that video out for resources. Also,
exactly.
and I mean, if you have like content, like I'm not asking you to do this, but if for whatever reason you wanted to make publicly available music, we have a resources channel if you want to make a thread or something.
Oh, true. That's a good point. Thank you.
So it's an option if people want to join in. We actually also have one for thumbnails too. We have people donating artwork of theirs. There's a thread over in our resources channel for people who want to use whatever artwork has been drawn by some of the VAs and writers in our community. So.
Nice.
Alrighty.
I'm definitely going to be dogpiling into that for my own channel.
I know that Beyond started talking about stuff right now, but you're next.
Hmm?
Beyond is next.
The question. Scene. Okay, so it's not a scene as much as it is a separate matter of having an audio prompt, but not knowing which direction to take it when you write it or improv it or whatever. This is circling back to another idea I had. It's like, if you have an idea, but the question is, do you want to make it funny? Do you want to make it serious? Do you want to make it intriguing? There's like so many routes to take it, but no one has made it yet. And you can only make like one, because, well, I don't know if that's real or not, but that's how I'm going to be doing it. And I don't know which one to choose. I can make it serious or funny, and I just don't know which direction to take.
I think that's a problem sometimes when it comes to scripts where you have a specific tone in mind, but then the dialogue just kind of writes itself and it turns out to be something else.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay.
Yep. I've had the same problem so many times.
It has a mind of its own, it's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, Alk is next.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. I think it's the one that I had mentioned it earlier. There's like my first big like quote unquote fight scene, I guess you would call it. And it was a struggle all around. Because it really was like it was the first 3 minutes of like a 20-minute audio, and that part took me like over a month to complete. And it was rough, bro. Like the the sound effects were like the main part of it. It was just like making it sound just at all believable. Like I did the thing that I usually do, which is just like imagining it like shot by shot visually, and so trying to translate all of that magical like bullshit that I was imagining into something that could be like at least partially gleaned from just the audio was very difficult. Like some of it was using like existing like sound effects that I had saved and just like editing it around with other stuff I was like synthesizing myself. It was just all very just a lot. And then obviously like voicing the characters fighting is it's always funny to just be alone in the room and like grunting, like it was definitely an experience. And next time I do something like that, it will hopefully be less arduous.
It's kind of funny hearing VAs talk about doing like action scenes, because really it's just making a bunch of really awkward grunts, and it gets sound so much cooler when you have the music and all the sound effects, but by itself it just sounds so cringy.
Because what am I supposed to feel when I'm sitting here in this chair?
The thing is, I don't even do the grunts. I do like occasional taunts every so often. That's the method I have to use. Because I have to do action scenes as well, particularly in the Headless Horseman audio. I had a brief fight scene in the Hollow Knight audio, but that was just, a few swings and things like that, and suggest... Okay, that was going to come out wrong, but yeah. There's very little...
And it was like this... In this scene, like, because they're using magic, a lot of it was me having to, like, describe like the characters' reactions to stuff. Like one of them, it was like their magic was like backfiring on them and making them like pain, and so it's that kind of thing where it's just like having the responsiveness helps to like give clarity to what the fuck is happening. And so I'm just sitting here in this chair alone with my chinchilla staring at me like, ugh. It's like, what am I doing?
What is this about a chinchilla?
Effort noises are real.
That just grabbed my attention for a second. Let's see.
I don't know. I love making effort noises, so.
And what does that mean?
You know what it means.
The grunts and groans, all of that. It's great. It's a fun time.
Right,
Something about
right.
the
Piece it
method
all
acting.
together and turn it in. Yeah, get it to piece
That is
it all
often like
together and turn it into
90%
like
of
an
my
actual.
audios.
Maybe we
There you
need
go.
options for method acting. Like find somebody off the street and just challenge them to a duel.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say something else.
No, no.
I also
But,
thought you
I
were
mean,
We're keeping this
we can challenge them to a duel in the bedroom.
with
Yeah, like we never
we're
see
gonna
where
use,
this
There's a
ends up,
question
you know?
the
there's a
coolest
question
stick
I
you can
shouldn't
find.
ask as a follow-up.
Anyway, before this gets a little too racy, let's move on to me. As a writer, like I mentioned this earlier, where sometimes like the dialogue just sometimes writes itself, and you end up kind of going off the rails with the tone you were initially going for, and you got to try your best sometimes to work around it to the point where, it actually seems like it was intentional that you were going for this particular tone. Sometimes my scripts end up being funnier than I initially intend them to be, and it's more like instead of fighting against it, I just roll with it. Like sometimes conversations just go that way. It might start off a little bit dramatic, but then, there's some brevity or like between like tones and such, and where you might be able to make a few jokes here and there or say something funny to lighten up the mood more. And I feel like that kind of adds a little bit more to the realism sometimes. Otherwise, I kind of want to use a specific example. There's a big project that I've been working on actually, where sometimes when you really need to get a specific conversation down right, I feel like it makes it pretty challenging, because in those cases it's less about, letting your conversation just kind of flow as it is, because I feel like in an ASMR medium, especially with one shots, like I don't have to imply things that happen later, right? So I don't have to worry too much about how this is going to influence the overall narrative, because the narrative is just a single scene in an implied larger story. But in that bigger project that I'm working on, where I have several characters and it's a big narrative, because it's a really big project that is much more than just like voice, like it's not voice acting or anything, but it's basically an entire story. And so I have to be consistent all throughout, and I feel that's kind of what makes it a little more challenging sometimes. So there's this one scene that gave me so much trouble, in that I probably rewrote this thing 20 plus times because I didn't like how it was turning out. And sometimes that's all it really takes. Like sometimes you just gotta brute force it to fit a specific tone that you want, and just kind of accept the fact that sometimes it's not going to turn out the perfect way that you initially envisioned it. And sometimes that's okay. Like characters aren't always going to have the most perfect, like not even just characters, but dialogue in general, like between you and a real person, it's not going to be perfect. You're not going to always have super smart quips, like back and forth and such. So it kind of, I guess I don't say like advice for this is just kind of treat it like you would a regular conversation between you and another person, where again, obviously it's not going to be perfect, even if you're writing somebody who's smarter than you or something, right? Like even though this character might have better quips and whatnot, they're not always going to have that perfect answer for everything. But anyway, let us move on to our last person here, which is Debbie.
Just gonna re-raise or see my moment. Oh, anytime I would write something that involves yandere. Unironically, it's one thing where I both enjoy writing it and don't like writing it at all. I don't know what it is, but the thing that helps me overcome me just writing Especially scenes where it's if it's like a kidnapping or if it's the yandere just being absolutely super possessive. The one thing that makes me overcome it is um thinking of one of the characters I've already written and kind of visualizing how they would do it in a not so obsessive, sadistic manner. How they would make it more cutesy or more comfortable towards the listener. That's pretty much it. That is the only thing. I've gotten better at just writing just writing yandere and like kidnapping scenes to a point, but I'm still a little bit shaky when I write them.
What happens if I try to use the bingo card? My yandere bingo card. I just
Don't. You don't want to know.
I need to find it so I can show you guys. It's really funny. I remember I showed it off once, but you can tell me if you get a bingo on the card.
I was about to say, I might as well just send you my script, see if you can get a bingo on any of
Oh,
them.
that,
You probably
that'd be
would.
great. But yeah, well, actually, while we're moving on to the next question, I'll try to find it.
Yeah.
I feel like I shared it on a podcast once, but I don't remember. But anyway, we'll get to the last Skittles question. Oh boy, here's the burnout question. So
Oh,
this
yeah.
is for everybody. Do you have any tips for burnout? Beyond us first.
Well, that's a bit tricky because I haven't been burned out yet. One second. Hold on. Okay, for writing, sometimes it's best to just quit stressing the details and just do it without thinking, and sometimes that helps. It's supposed to be fun. If it stops being fun, bring yourself back to the basics until it turns fun again. There's also the fact that you can't do it constantly, otherwise that'll burn you out, but I feel like Debbie's going to fill you in on that better than me.
I will indeed.
So I saw that. Okay. You said 4:40. Is that an hour from now?
Yeah, about.
Okay, we should hopefully be able to get through these because I think we only have 4 questions left, so we'll try to zoom
Hopefully.
as best as possible. We'll try to get there for you. Anyway, yeah, we'll try to move on quickly. So let's go with Debbie next.
Oh boy, do I have a few tips. First and most obvious one is don't do what I did and try to write 40 scripts in 40 days, and then realize as soon as you get to the halfway point, you shouldn't be doing this anymore. I would say to overcome burnout is to do something that I don't do, and that is to make a schedule for yourself. Take into account if you have work at a certain time, how long you're working for, if you are, let's just say if you're in college, what time your classes are. Try to schedule any time, rather that be for writing or for recording, around whatever free time you have, and then write or record for a specific amount of time. I have a thing for for writers that are just starting out. I have a Google Doc where I have written myself a what's it called? Fucking can't remember what it's called. Where essentially I write down near the bottom when you start your script, I recommend you write no more than 1,000 words for your script if you are just starting out. The reason being is that 1,000 words, while it sounds like a lot initially, once you start getting into a rhythm of, I can make a script that's like a 500 word script, I can make a script that's like 700 words, slowly progressing to 1,000 words, it starts to build up your confidence. And it starts to build up to, hey, I can write X amount of words now. How many can I write, for a specific script that I've been thinking about for a long time or whatever, right? I would say the biggest thing that helps is practice. And another big thing that helps is a time schedule. which the time schedule I do not have because I'm just clinically insane when it comes to script writing. So do what I don't do.
I feel like there's a saying for that. The do as I say.
Yeah.
Don't do as I
Yeah.
do.
Exactly. Do as I say, not as I do.
Also, while I move on, I did post the Yandere bingo card that other people in the server helped me make. If you want to do your own
I see
bingo
that.
for your scripts.
I don't
But
think
yeah, the next up is Cody.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's one of those things where you just have to recognize the signs for yourself. If you feel burnout coming on, like don't try to push through it, because that is going to make it way worse. So it's going to make it so that once you finally crash out and can no longer create, it's going to take a lot longer to recover. That happened to me last year, actually. I did a huge push for some very SFX intensive audios for Halloween, actually, and I was posting them all month. I think I was doing 2 audios every week the entire month, most of which were SFX heavy. And then I had to take like a 3-month break after that because it was so much. So definitely don't expect yourself to do more than you can. You know, we all have other things going on in our lives, and like the creative outlets are really important, but you also don't want to push to the point where you can't create anymore. So, you know, if you feel like it's getting to be too much, see what you can like scale back on. You know, if you've been like creating one thing a week, try just doing one thing every other week or one thing a month. Like if you can create at a slower pace, that's totally fine. You know, there's no expectation. Maintaining your own well-being is like the first and foremost most important thing. So like prioritize that before anything else, because otherwise the burnout will bite you so hard and you will regret not slowing down sooner.
Honestly, that probably fits what a lot of people would agree with.
Yeah.
Like we have more people to talk about it as well. But yeah, I think that's another thing. Just take care of yourself, prioritize your own health and interests over the algorithm and whatnot. Also, I did put the Yandere bingo card up on screen for people to look at. I did not make
That
all of
bingo
these.
card is
These were
amazing.
some of them were suggestions from other people.
It's so good. I love that.
All right, let's move on. So Alka's next. Hopefully you can still see the question. I know we have the Google Doc if you need to look at it.
Yeah, it's the burnout one, yeah.
Yeah, the burnout.
So, yeah, I personally, last year, I had to take like a 10-month disappearance break from posting or doing anything with my channel. And it's nowadays it's like it's a meme amongst my audience basically that like I disappeared to go get milk and then never came back. Because I was gone. Yeah, I was gone for nearly a year. I dropped like one of the longest and like most detailed audios I ever had, and then just had to like leave because I was doing like I was finishing college and like having to do like a full-time like internship all at once with the channel, and it was just hell, and I could not do it. And so I was like, something is gonna like something has to go, or else I'm gonna like crash out and like KMS or something. And so like the channel just had to take the hit. And that's just like that's kind of just like the necessary thing that has to happen sometimes if you're like burning out, because burnout can be very, very serious. It can land you like with health issues in the hospital. It can get you fucking like killed and like losing your mind. And so it did like affect my channel, obviously. It did affect like what it was like trying to come back and just start making shit again. But like, yeah, obviously like it's different if like your livelihood depends on it, but otherwise like don't be afraid to just like stop if you have to. It can be really easy to like keep giving yourself excuses or reasons to like keep going, especially because like I feel like there's a lot of kind of like hustle culture around like making like content for YouTube or just like um yeah, just like doing online stuff in general. And especially if there's like an emotional attachment that you have to it through like either like having a connection with your audience or just like the work being like a passion thing like it is for me. I definitely like tried to keep myself going a lot longer than I should have, and if I had taken a break earlier, it probably would have lasted a lot less than 10 months. So, yeah, just like don't be afraid to quit while you're ahead, I guess, because it'll make things worse if you keep trying to like if you keep trying to work while you're like obviously not like not doing well. And that way it'll be easier to come back to. And like it's hard for me even now. Like before, I used to be able to do like weekly or bi-weekly uploads. I have no fucking idea how I did that before because now it's just rough. It's like something about it just like permanently altered my brain chemistry and like how I work. And so I would recommend avoiding that if you can. I think that would be a good idea generally.
It's an interesting point that you make, specifically about the ones where, this is their livelihood. And so I feel like it's arguably a little bit more difficult for them to move away from it unless they have another backup plan. And another thing I wanted to comment on is, and especially that this actually ties into, I guess, my own comments a bit, and I'll go into a little bit more, but this is used by a lot of people as a hobby, right? And so if you're trying to force yourself to do your hobby when you're not really mentally there, you might end up kind of associate those bad emotions and just everything that's going on with your hobby. And so trying to move away from it and not associate those bad emotions with the hobby itself, I think also helps a little bit, especially if you want to go back at some point, because I mean, again, if you're having a hard time as it is, you don't want to be reminded, oh, I was going through a rough patch in my life while I was doing this, even if it had nothing to do with the content itself. I feel like it's just better to move away from it while you're having stuff go on. But I don't know if that's how it is for other people.
Yeah, it can definitely like take the enjoyment out of it if you try to keep at it while like you're struggling. And obviously if like enjoying that hobby is one of the few things like keeping you sane, that's a problem and it can affect your like IRL relationships or jobs or anything else that you're doing. And so it can have a lot more consequences than you might realize in the moment. But yeah, it's all very important stuff to consider.
I'll actually kind of pivot into this because I'm next technically on the list. I know you mentioned that you were in school at the time. So was I while I was doing some of this.
Yeah.
And I used my my writing as kind of an outlet for myself, just so that it kind of took me out of the workload, because I was doing a master's degree at the time, like a 2-year master's degree at the time. And so this was kind of just like my little thing that kind of helped me a bit. And oddly enough, you'd think that it would kind of take me out of it, but at the same time, I think that working with that particular degree that I was going for and the expectations actually helped me and worked on organizing. And that's probably why I do the things the way I do now. I don't like to procrastinate because when you're in a master's program, you end up having a bunch of things to work on for the week. You have quizzes, tests every single week. You have to write reports and stuff, and you have other things like extracurriculars that they require you to do. And so you kind of have to be the type of person that organizes yourself and make sure that you get things done every single day. And I always made sure that I divided things up between every single day of the week. I never had a day off for 2 years because of this. But I feel like, again, I think it kind of benefited me in the sense that I'm much more organized now and I don't procrastinate on my work. I always make sure that I write 200 words at least every single day for my scripts. And unless it's like a series where I tend to write shorter scripts for each part, but otherwise I have a goal that I set for myself. And again, it's probably not going to apply to everybody, but that stressful environment, weirdly enough, kind of helped me. And regarding burnout, though, again, I kind of alluded to this earlier on in the podcast, where even though I have a specific niche that I fill with my content, I do like to write other types of content. And so I don't force myself to write villain scripts every single week or whatever, even though that's probably my most popular content, right? Like, more people want to see those types of scripts. But sometimes, I just want to sit back and write something completely different, right? Sometimes I want to experiment with speakers that I've never worked with before. And so that's kind of my way to still keep enjoying myself. And that's not to say that I don't enjoy writing villain scripts, but sometimes, there's that one week where I want to do something a little bit different and I want to mix things up. And so I think you should just, when you're coming up, I guess, with content, and again, not everybody's going to have the same schedule. Some people work with like bi-weekly or however many posts they make per week. I do a 1 week, or I guess a 1 week schedule, like one script per week. Some people take like a month to do it. Work with whatever schedule works for you. But again, and this is not to tell people, you have to continue making content, but just know that there's kind of a, I don't want to say like a push and pull for this. And I talked about it earlier, where if you're going like 3 months without posting content, I mean, people aren't going to see your work, right? So I guess you're gonna have to really think about why you're here in the first place. Like, is your purpose here to create works that you want people to fill, or are you just here to enjoy yourself and post content that you like? Because I feel like that's a good mindset to be in, where you write content for yourself, and it really should just be for yourself, because again, you can't make the assumption that your work's going to be filled, because again, a lot of us have scripts that don't get filled ever. I have scripts that are several years old, and as mentioned, some other writers in this panel have mentioned it as well, where they've had scripts that have been months old, still no fills. And I think sometimes that kind of leads to burnout in some cases, especially if that's why you're here in the community. But I think you really kind of have to step back sometimes and think to yourself, or at least come to the realization that, yeah, like, you're not always going to get those fills. You're not always going to get that nice little dopamine rush you get from somebody voicing your script. But yeah, like, it really should just be right for yourself. Write something that you want to read, because a lot of the times that's just how the content is going to be enjoyed. So enjoy reading your scripts back several months down the line, instead of just assuming that it's going to be filled, because again, it's not always going to be the case.
I'm going to have to leave at some point soon.
No problem. Do you know when? Is it like within the next few minutes, or?
And then
Oh,
he was
just
gone.
dropped
Looks
off.
like he just dropped off.
Okay, well, I guess we'll say goodbye, even though you're not here anymore. Beyond, but
Damn.
okay then. But yeah, hopefully we'll go through this a little bit quicker. We just have this and then Not's questions, actually. But let's have Aku answer the question.
Yeah, burnout. I, as someone who, Crimson's back.
Didn't mean to do that, but yeah, I'm going to have to leave at some point pretty soon to help my dad do something.
Okay, no worries.
If we want to have Crimson go first, then.
I already
I
did
can
for
give
this question. Yeah.
I can give a summary on the questions if you'd like.
We can do that for like all the next questions, unless you want me to just like speed run through those, and then just have you answer them all.
Okay, so basically, for backstory, it depends a lot on the story, and a huge deal of it is knowing what to leave out, because a lot of the times the audience will come up with something much better than anything that can be written. So it's good to leave certain things vague. Favorite and least favorite sound effects to use? I hate making fight scenes. Those are so intuitive and they take so much effort to build. I like ambiance though. Ambience and making the voice match it is my favorite part. And effective or ineffective collab just comes down to how skilled you are at editing them. But yeah, I'll be leaving. Be seeing y'all.
Later.
All right. We'll see you. Anyways, let's go back because I don't think you answered this question. Actually, did you answer it? The burnout
No,
question?
I did not finish the burnout question.
Okay,
yeah, so burnout for me, so I have burned out. I completely burned out, not related to content. But before I even started making content on a regular basis, back in 2020, I was working as a cook, and I became a chef, and I was working a lot. Like my shortest week was 48 hours, and typically I was working 60 to 90 hours a week, depending on the week. And I ended up burning myself out hard. I can't step into a commercial kitchen anymore. I did a lot of Chinese and Asian food. I don't make fried rice at home anymore. I'll do it occasionally, but it's just like it's a very occasional thing. I can't even like make myself fried rice at home. It's like that bad. Like I legitimately like traumatized myself. It's pretty bad. But I've also burned myself out on content a little bit, and I worked through it. I kept making content through it because I do genuinely enjoy making scripts, or not even making scripts, but making audios and like making scripts for myself for audios as well. Even if I don't post them for others to use, like I enjoy writing, I enjoy recording, I enjoy editing too, as much as I can. Editing is probably my least favorite part, but I still do it. I still enjoy it. But like for me, the thing was like I was doing 3 audios a week for a while, and I couldn't do it anymore after a while. The amount of work I was putting on myself, especially since some scripts I would do were very sound effects heavy. Some weren't, but a lot were. And one of the things I did to recover was just like focused more on the voice acting, and just did more voice acting heavy scripts. And that was the other thing, is I not only did like to kind of get myself out of that gutter of feeling burned out on doing the roleplay audios, was just pushing myself to do more a week again, because doing less was actually making it worse, weirdly. And so I started doing more, but I was specifically targeting scripts with lower sound effects so I could focus more on what I like, which is the voice acting part, right? That's the part that I really care about the most. So, and that helped a lot. But yeah, at the end of the day, to try and avoid burnout, the best thing you can do, effort to reward ratio would be the way I would describe it, because you're only going to get so much reward from anything you do, right? So you have to like, okay, so how much effort does this thing take? What's the reward I'm going to get? Like, does that work for you? Does that work for me? Like, it's just and if the effort to reward ratio doesn't make sense, figure out how to change the effort to reward ratio. Usually you can't change the reward. You can only change the effort you put in. So maybe do less effort. Like, you know, and people say you're making slop, tell them to fuck off.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with not putting in effort, but more like, I would say just give yourself time. That's probably the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even better, direct your effort towards the things that that aren't as draining on you. So for me, like, I was still putting in effort to the voice acting part, right? And doing less editing, you know, because I was still making high quality stuff. Like, it's not like my quality dipped. It's just the amount of work I was putting more work towards something else than something else. Something that was like naturally rewarding to me versus something where it's like, okay, this is only rewarding for me if I get like views on it, right? You know, if that makes sense at all. I don't know. That might not make sense.
I mean, it's the same mentality.
I have a hard.
That's what I was saying before about, like, not even just about like views, but also just fills in general. Like, you need to kind of set your expectations to, you know, again, this is really all for yourself at the end of the day. You can't really assume that people are going to fill your scripts. It's going to be like the one I sent you, the 37 upvotes that has no fill. But I mean,
absolutely.
like, really, like, all that really matters, again, is just, like, be in a place where you can enjoy your own content and don't try to, I guess, appease people necessarily. Your audience will come to you at the end of the day, and maybe they won't, but again, all that really matters is that you are enjoying your own content at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think learning to love the process is a big part of it. Yeah. Also, just don't work yourself to death. Like, enjoy life.
We're all here for a shared hobby.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, let us move on to Knott's questions. We are in the final stretch. So these are our, why is it turning red for me? Okay. So this is for our writers. We are down a writer, but also VA, I guess. But it's fine. We'll answer this as best as we can. So how much backstory, if any, do you create for your characters that doesn't end up making it into the script? Oh my gosh. Okay. So let's go with Cody first.
Honestly, I feel like any backstory that appears in, like, as I'm scripting, it usually ends up going into the audio because it's pertinent for, you know, building the context around the characters and their relationship, or, you know, the scenario that they're in. So I don't find that there's usually a lot of excess backstory that does not actually end up in the audio itself. A lot of it is like pretty undeveloped backstory. Like, I have a couple of different stories where, you know, there's like warring like werewolf clans or whatever else, and it's like all you need to know is what has been said in the audio, and that's generally as far as like my own development of that goes. So yeah, the answer to that is none. If the backstory exists, it's in the audio somewhere, and outside of that, I could probably expound if somebody wanted to know more about it, but ultimately, like, everything that people need to know about it is already usually included in the audio itself.
Always gotta say, we love it when people ask us about the universes we create.
Yeah, no, we do, because then I'm like, oh, you know what? I actually haven't thought about that. Let me figure out and answer what you're asking me about this, because I didn't get that far, but, you know, it still is interesting to delve into it.
That's an interesting take, though. I mean, I have a different one, but it's not my turn. I'm the last one on this list. So Devi is next.
For me, it depends on what I'm writing. If it's a one-off script, the only backstory I will generally give is the characters, like a little bit of the character's origin and a little bit of their background. And that's about it. like I wouldn't be too specific on if I'm writing, for example, the 1 millionth Kitsune script I've written. I wouldn't home in on every single detail on, I'm a Kitsune, which means I do this, I have this, etc. I would write it as if I have already written so many Kitsunes, and I would go with the basic knowledge of that you could find in any other script I've written, the same or a similar character. However, if I'm writing a series, I would write the backstory progressively. Um, at the start of the series, I would write more of the backstory of the character. Um, but I would keep it relatively um basic or relative or enough for the listener to understand the character's background, and I would go a little bit more in depth but talk less about their background as the story progresses, and focus on their relationships with the listener.
I guess more like a pre-establishing, let's get our setting
Essentially.
ready, and then let's kind of just describe what we're
Yeah.
where we are first,
If
and then
there's
kind of work
anything
from there, right? Yeah.
yeah, and if there's anything I can think of that can enrich the story of the series, then I will add it. But almost 9 times out of 10, I will only add certain details if it makes sense within the story and if it enriches the story.
Well, I'm gonna answer this in a interesting way, um, but there's actually several answers to this question that I have. It really depends. That's the short answer. Some of my scripts are based on pre-existing narratives that I created many years ago. And so I'm just kind of taking from those ideas and then using that initial backstory as these characters' backstory, right? But majority of the time when it comes to something like, say, one shots, a lot of them are just shower thoughts to me. So what ends up happening is that a lot of my characters themselves don't really have a backstory. They don't even have faces, honestly. Like, I just imagine a faceless blob in my story. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not even just a backstory, it's just like I don't even have a proper character per se. I'm just writing dialogue at the end of the day, and I know it's probably very different from some people. You can't really, like, you gotta imagine a very specific type of speaker for this role, but at the end of the day, like, again, they're just a faceless blob because it's a one shot and I didn't really think too much about it. but but yeah, like I said, it really depends, and I try to leave things a little bit open-ended a lot of the time for my listeners, because sometimes you can actually make your, like, it might actually enhance the story a little bit more not knowing what's going on. One of my more popular scripts, the Villain Makes You Feel Wanted script, is one of those where it's intentional that we don't really know if what the speaker is saying about the backstory listener being abandoned by their friends or whatever is true. Like, it's straight up gaslighting, right? Like they're trying to, like, the entire point of the script is that the speaker's trying to, like, muddle the truth, right? And so sometimes it works to your benefit not having that backstory there because you're trying to get a particular tone or vibe across with the speaker. But otherwise, in cases where that's not happening, I'll just have my scripts with a very vague background where it's like, oh, these characters were enemies at one point or something, right? And there's really nothing too special about it. Unless I really want to go in depth about the world. And sometimes you need to explain why things work the way they do in your world. So I think that's where backstory would come in. Like, I care more about, I guess, the setting in these cases and just trying to explain this is how things work in my universe, this is how my magic system works or whatever, if it's relevant to the plot. But otherwise, I think I benefit more from just allowing listeners to create their own narrative in their head. But that's just me. Okay. So let's move on to the second to last question. This is for our VAs. Let me get my randomizer up here. Okay. So, what are your favorite and least favorite sound effects to use and why? The first person is Aku.
Bells and anything high pitched. I balancing it with everything else is hard. Especially like I earlier I did say that I do care more about the entertainment and roleplay value than I do about the ASMR value, but I also take the ASMR stuff into account, right? People generally want something where the audio is kind of equalized and it doesn't take them out. And a lot of people, as previously mentioned, they use these to go to sleep. So that is something I think about. And high pitched noises are really, really difficult to audio balance properly. Just yeah, that really mostly that. I can't think of anything else like sound effect wise that is like really really challenging for me. Everything else I can kind of nail. Anytime I got to go find a new sound effect is always an experience. But for the most part, bells and high pitched are like they are the bane of my existence.
I'm curious, like, how many scripts require bells for them?
Not many. It's very rare, but like a bell on like a door opening, like a coffee shop door opening with like a bell, like that. It it's yeah. Finding one like finding a way to balance that, like have the door opening sound right, but also the bell like not blast people's eardrums out. You surprisingly difficult, at least for me. So yeah.
See. Let's see. Okay, this is an interesting one because we actually sort of talked about this in DMs. Cody is next.
Yeah, so without going into too much detail, as discussed, I do NSFW stuff, and wet sounds are the bane of my existence. Because getting them in, like, as I'm recording is not an option because of the way that I record. And so it all has to happen in post. And I don't like most stock sounds out there because they just don't sound realistic. They sound like cartoonish at best, and that's obviously not the vibe I'm going for. But then also making my own as hell. So it really is just like lose-lose across the board. There really is no fun way for me to make wet sounds. That's why a lot of my audios don't have them. I figure the listener is probably doing enough to probably make up for the lack of those anyways. So it's not a huge deal, but sometimes I have like a perfectionist tendencies where I'm just like, oh, well, they're not going to like it as much if those aren't in there. But that's something I'm trying to valiantly overcome at the moment. But yeah, so those are like my main op when it comes to editing and adding sounds. But my favorite sound effects, I would say, just if there's ever a scenario that I'm doing where I can have just like a blanket background ambient sound, you know, like crickets if it's nighttime and you're outdoors, or like, you know, the sound of firelight, or the sound of like a hearth or something like that. I really love that. It does a lot of the heavy lifting as far as the environment building and scene setting goes. It just really gets that immersion in there pretty effectively without having to do too much else. So, yeah.
It's like
Read.
more the ambient sounds.
Yes, please, writers, if you have an ambiance in mind, let us know.
I always try to with my scripts.
Yeah.
I also try to give my VAs an option for different sound effects if I don't think one is easy to find.
Yeah.
That's
I
so
think
nice.
for majority of mine, I just put in either fire or rain. It's the easiest.
Yeah, those are really good ones. Yeah, rainfall especially is really good. Very relaxing.
Let's see. And lastly, we got Alk.
Yeah, I just love like and like environmental sounds in general. Like I think the like building up the scene is really, really important whenever I make an audio, because like in audio versus like visual mediums, it's so much easier to pick up on small details as like the listener. And so hiding as many layers and little things in the background can be really, really fun for me, as a way to like keep me engaged during the editing process. Um, Also, like when I get the chance to, I also really like synthesizing my own sounds. It's like it's a little treat, it's a little reward. And like in this current season of my series, a lot of the music and sound is electronic anyway, so it fits, and I get more chances to do that. Yeah, like one time I made like in in one of my audios where I wanted to make like a creepy or like stressful atmosphere, I like used infrasound, and like it was like a pulsating like sine wave basically. Like it wasn't anything crazy, but like it was just really funny to me because like when I listened to it back, it was like vibrating the inside of my headphones, which was um, a sensation I've not experienced before. But I think it worked in terms of like how it affected the scene. Yeah.
I think like the general consensus is ambiance good.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like it's hard sometimes, especially I've heard from some VAs mentioning that they've tried to record like the rain sounds outside, but it just doesn't pick up on the mic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got to be like really specific equipment or like staging to make your own recordings of that work. Usually, um, I usually don't record any of my own ambience.
Same.
Just grab the free stuff. Go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically. Freesound.com is a resource for a person like us.
Freesound.org is my best friend and lover. It's
It-
the best place.
Right.
It's so useful.
It's so good. There's also the Adobe Audition sound effects. You can just grab those and use them. There's a lot of good stuff in there. On the topic of
Creative
wet
Commons
sounds,
Zero.
yeah. On the topic of wet sounds, I actually was reminded recently that Jello exists, and so I'm probably going to be trying to make a wet sound library here soon. So
That's a good ass point.
You do that.
That's
Yeah,
good. You know what?
love a link.
I don't subscribe to the Patreon for SFW content, but just imagining that now, I'm like, I think that's gonna ruin the immersion. Just so I can see
Do not picture a Jello cup. It's fine.
Too late. I'm already picturing it.
yeah, I have a wet sound library that I currently use that I found on. Actually, I think I found it on Freesound, and it's good, but I need more. So
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like there's always like something about it where I'm like, this could be better. Like this is supposed to sound a certain way and it's close, but it's not quite there.
The Open NSFW sound pack is very good, and I would recommend. Also, don't be afraid to use plugins like Reverb and EQ. They can definitely do some work in making it fit into the scene.
Yes, I have done some stuff like that. Even just like slowing up and speeding down audio to affect pitch and obviously timing. Yeah. Koikatsu Open NSW sound pack? Is that what you were talking about?
Yes.
I had never heard of this. Thank you.
It's pretty extensive.
It's a
Getting
dot
a lot
bat.
of resources today. Actually, something funny. There was a big project that we did a couple years ago. Big collab in it was our White Elephant collab. that we did in the server, and we had some interesting things that Brainy Dragon did to create some of the sound effects, and you'd be surprised at how close certain things are to each other. In his attempt to create a sound effect that was like a cutting through skin sound effect with a knife, he cut through a watermelon. It sounds pretty. It sounded pretty fitting, honestly.
Yeah.
Hmm.
If you ever see how
Mhm.
they make the sounds for like Mortal Kombat, they're just
Yeah.
smashing veggies, bro.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's why I brought up the Jello thing, because I remembered I was going back through and watching some old YouTube stuff from back in the day, and I stumbled across Zone Tunes again, and they talked about using Jello to make their NSFW sound effects. And I was like, oh my god, that's genius.
Now we've ruined the immersion for everybody.
Yeah, whatever. If they're coming here, they want the dirty details from the background, you know.
Alrighty, let's do our final question from Not. This is for everybody. We just talked about collabs right now, so what makes for an effective or ineffective collab, and what does a successful collab look like to you? Me too. This randomizer really does not like certain people. Just keeps putting like the same people as last for some reason. Okay, let's do Cody first.
I would say, I mean, overall, an effective collab is one where I feel like the work is evenly distributed, and like everybody involved is doing the same amount of effort and is participating in the ways that they like want to and feel effective, but also that like that it's an equal distribution of effort. I've done not very many collabs because I kind of got burned in the first one ever that I did. I ended up doing about 90% of the work as far as recording and editing and adding SFX, and it was very SFX heavy. So I would just say like, just wanting to establish the responsibilities beforehand and making sure that like the duties are clear and that everybody's going to be participating equally. Let me read the question. And I would just say like effective is just like a lot of really good communication and everybody being open to feedback and being able to feel like you can say like, hey, I want to do this portion, would you be comfortable with this? And then being able to negotiate and just making sure that everybody is like flexible, I think, to any needed adjustments without there being a lot of like, I don't know, imbalance in the different roles.
I feel like that probably hit the nail on the head for a lot of people. So we'll see if anyone actually has more to add to this. But yeah, so let's see. Aku's next.
Yeah. Actually, on the note of work distribution, I kind of agree. I kind of disagree. I think for me, the way I think about it, and again, I also haven't done too many collabs either. I've both been a participant and an organizer of collabs. But usually, my expectation going into a collab is whoever's initiating the collab and organizing it is the one who's going to be doing the bulk of the editing because it's going on their channel. They're the one who is going to be benefiting the most from it. That's my perspective. But that's also from the perspective of only having done safe work collabs and not too many of them as well. So if I'm initiating a collab, the only thing I'm expecting from anyone is their raw vocals, maybe with whatever touching up they like to do, but preferably as raw as possible so that I can make it all match up after the fact. But yeah, And like, so when people have approached me, I'm like, okay, cool. I'll get you the vocals, and then yeah, you edit it up, put it up. Just let me know when you're done. Um, but yeah, and as far as I'm concerned, a successful collab is a finished collab. So
Hard agree. Honestly. Let's see. We got Elk next.
Yeah, I haven't done any NSFW collabs, but I've done a decent amount of SFW ones. I don't think I've ever had any unsuccessful ones necessarily. Everyone that I've worked with has been pretty, like gracious and nice. And well, I wouldn't say professional because we all like to be a little like silly goofy, and some of them are like my friends, and so we're not being super serious or anything. But yeah, everyone that I've worked with has been like timely and communicative and like very eager to like collaborate on stuff more than just like if I'm asking like for voice lines, they want to ask questions about like the backstory of the scene or like they want to like make the lines a little better or anything like that. It's been very nice working with a lot of them. And so I think that's kind of like the key to it. I don't think having like a successful collab is really difficult or anything. It's just important to keep the line of communication open and to set expectations up front. So that way there isn't any confusion, there isn't any potential for someone to be like taking on more work than they're capable of. And it's also important to not be afraid to ask questions. And it's also good to be open to re-records or notes on like performance or script or anything. Yeah, I would say just be normal and things will move like pretty smoothly in my experience.
I'll just say that some people don't even finish their own content. That's not even collab stuff. So sometimes it's a hard ask for some people. I'll add on to this. So yeah, I'm second to last. So basically a lot of what everybody else was saying, similarly to Aku, I think, or I heavily agree that a successful lab is a complete one, honestly. And really it comes down to how much work you're willing to put in and how active the group is. And I'm just gonna say that because I'm a writer, but I have organized collab groups with VAs before, so I didn't have a channel for people to post stuff on. So I don't necessarily agree with it having to be a VA in this case. But again, I have a different perspective on that as a writer. But I did organize a 13-person collab. So it was 6 writers, 7 VAs. And I was on people constantly, and they probably thought I was the most annoying person ever because I was going around telling people, hey, have you got this stuff done yet? Please get it done already because we're trying to move along. And so, I mean, like, probably, again, like, people probably hated me after that club, but I'm just going to say, it got done. It got done. I made sure it got done. So, really, like, you need to have somebody there to make sure that things get done and that things are being moved along smoothly because really, especially when you're working with certain people, and this is where another point about the ineffective collab comes in, is that there's just some people that don't really work well in a group. Like, you don't want to have that case of more people. Like, there's always gonna be that one person from that class project who just lets everybody else do all the work for them. Like, you need to have some like-minded people. You need to have people who are just as invested in the project as you are and who are willing to put in the work and the effort to do it. And it's a lot harder when you have so many people working on a project. But again, maybe it's just me and maybe people are just scared of me. they got it done after I got after them and said, it's like, we can't be waiting forever because there's other people in this group who want this project to be made too. So, do it not just for me, but for everyone else who put all that effort in with their work. That's pretty much all I have to say about that. Lastly, is Devi.
I have little to nothing to add on, really. I agree with like pretty much all of the points that have been said. Recently I've been doing a 6 VA collab. Again, shameless plug-in for Halloween. That's going to be on a playlist on my new channel coming out. And I've been mostly relaxed with it. Just been kind of letting the VAs do their thing. I have gone up and DM'd them occasionally, being like, hey, by the way, this is what I want done. This is what I want for the audio in terms of like the background, like picture or whatever, or like what I want for the title, etc. But I've mostly just been relaxed, and I've been working on other projects for just general writing content and other commissions behind the scenes. So I would say I'm a little bit, because this is the first time I've ever hosted a massive collab event. I'd say I'm a bit more relaxed. However, I will still be on someone's ass if things just aren't done within a specific time. But for the most part, I agree with pretty much everything that's been said already.
Well, that was our final question. I just want to point out, because I didn't even mention this earlier, but normally I do say at the beginning of the podcast that we probably won't look too much at the comments, because as we saw, we got sidetracked a lot, and we're like about 4 hours in almost already. There's like 3 hours in. So that's why I try not to comment on too many things on here. I did notice that Dark Boyfriend audio is here. That's UTC, right? Right?
Yeah.
I believe so,
Yes,
yeah.
we were talking about you earlier.
Yeah. You were mentioned.
You were mentioned, I don't know, we were spilling the tea.
Yeah. I didn't go in too deep, but UTC did help me out quite a bit early on. Not like a lot, but he went through some stuff with me. And I think he actually has a ASMR channel review like thing that you can request of him now. And I can tell you from experience, he's good. You should, if you are questioning things about your channel and you want someone to go over it and give you a second point of view, he's very good.
Oh, did you get canceled? Oh, I can cancel him right now.
Oh, yeah.
I have some tea to spill.
Look.
Hey, UTC, you did a fill of my work and you never sent it to me. Please do that next time.
Oh,
Damn.
oh!
This was like 2 weeks ago, by the way.
Beat him up! Beat him up!
Call him out.
Get him.
I will
Get
call you.
him.
Hit him!
Fury, kill this guy.
I am ready to spill
The
tea.
whole idea. Okay, that's the whole point of what was I gonna say? The whole playlist thing that I have for artists, for scriptwriters rather. I actually got that from UTC, so.
Oh, not an MP3. Just send me a link over on Reddit or something. Honestly, that's all I ask for. But we were bringing this up earlier, where during our question about the terms of use, I do ask VAs to send me their fills. Pretty please.
Yeah, no, same here. and guess how many I get? Like little to none.
Yeah.
I
I have to search through fucking YouTube most of the time, unless I'm already
it so
subscribed
wild.
to their channel.
Oh, I don't know if it's gonna let you post
Like-
the. Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
sending out notifications.
Yeah.
I don't think people are allowed to. It's the vampire one. I find it.
Yeah.
That was like the
100%.
second video you posted on your channel. I saw it recently.
Yeah. I actually like getting feedback from scriptwriters. Like whenever a scriptwriter comes and like either like the replies on Reddit or on YouTube to let me know what they thought. It gives me the warm fuzzies. So
All right.
I like.
Let me send you my scripts and you can read them. You could do them and I will send you my feedback. Give me like 2 seconds.
We need to bring out the Andre
for
bingo
the
card
audience
too.
real quick. I am stapling this man's beautiful forehead
Also, yes,
with my
tagging
scripts.
would be fine. Please do. If you can tag me, that'd be great.
Yes.
Anyways, I don't want to push this for too long. I know that Alk has to go in a second, but again, thank you all for being here. For all of you who joined in a little bit late.
Yeah, I had to go.
It's like a
I had to go get some firewood. I'm back though.
But
good.
but yeah, let's use this time to do like a shameless plug. I don't know what's going. Does anyone have anything else to say before we leave?
No, not really.
Wait, do you want us to plug?
Yeah, do your
Like-
shameless plug.
Yeah, shameless plug.
Okay, if you go to my channel, check out my Headless Horseman audio if you want something more horror-oriented. And if you want something, if you're a fan of the recent Silk Song game, then take a look at my Hollow Knight audio. If you are okay with spoilers, because that does spoil a major event in the main game. All right, go ahead.
If you are looking for any VAs that are watching this, if you are looking for comfort scripts, mommy scripts, monster girl scripts, go ahead and find me on Reddit r/ScorpionKing39. I am also just going to be releasing a brand new audio channel at Devil's Rose VA. I just finished my first ever script form of the channel, so I will be recording over the weekend and hopefully gets uploaded sometime this week. I will also be making a Reddit post announcing my massive Halloween project with the 6 VAs that 5 of them, I believe 5 anyway, will be posting their audios on October 28th. One of them will be posting them between most likely October 31st. They will all go in a playlist on my new channel, so make sure to subscribe to that channel and get ready for some spooky comfort.
Anyone?
Did you want to plug before you have to go?
Anyone else want to plug?
Fucking alkaudio.com. If you like long series, subscribe to my channel, Alk Audio. If you want music, hey. If you want, if you want to
I sent you a friend request, by the way, so
I did accept it.
okay, you'll be hearing from me.
Yar, thank you so much for having me on. It's been a blast.
Yes, thank you for having me on as well.
I will be sending a friend request to all of you if I haven't already.
I will be most likely stapling all of your foreheads if that is okay.
Got it.
Yeah, go crazy.
And also to shamelessly plug our Discord server for those who are not part of it and you weren't here earlier. Please join us over on the ASMR Script Guild. This is where we do the recordings for our podcasts, or we're doing it live through one of the VCs here. We're also going to be sending out more forms for people to join in the future as a panelist. So if you are interested in answering all of the burning questions from our community, please join us over on the Discord server. Every couple months I send out a form and ask if you want to join in as a panelist. So if you cannot find the Discord link, it should be over on our YouTube channel. It should be in the description, I think, on the profile page or whatever. If you can't find it on there, you can DM me over on Reddit, same name, or u/BluechanXD. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Again, it was a pleasure having you all here. Hope to see you all for the next one.
Sorry, do you mind if I plug really quick?
Oh yeah, sure thing.
Go for it.
I'm Butch Cody Audios on YouTube, and I'm also over on Twitch at Butch Cody. I'm going to be doing a live stream tomorrow, what I'm calling the Sunday Scaries, where I am reading some scary short stories for Halloween. for the Halloween season. That will be happening at 5 p.m. Central, I believe. So if you're into listening to somebody read scary stories, come join.
Nice.
Looking forward to seeing all of your content, you guys, and hopefully everybody else in the chat too.
Yes,
But
yes.
yeah, like I said, it was great to have you all here, and maybe we'll have you all back at some point if you're interested in rejoining. But we'll let you know.
That I will 100% be trying to rejoin. This was fun.
Yeah, for
Anytime.
sure.
Yeah, this is awesome. Thank you guys.
Well, yes,
Yeah,
thank
later.
you all again. So have a great day, everybody.
Later.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye bye.